56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time on a Wednesday. Bryant and Brett with you for the next 3 hours, and we've got a ton to get to. Grizzlies back in action tonight against the Miami Heat at home. Penny Hardaway and a couple players talked to the media earlier today. I want to get to some of that a little bit later. We've got Maction, NFL around the corner, just a ton going on right now. But, Brett, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Brian, and a fun night around the NBA. Really missed it last night. Just saw a great note on NBA Live this afternoon on ESPN. Tonight, Victor Wembanyama will make his Madison Square Garden debut. Look, that's just one of the cathedrals of American sport. And it had other, noteworthy debuts at Madison Square Garden. Michael Jordan, I think, had 28. Wilt the Big Dipper, Wilt Chamberlain.
Wow.
He only went off for 43 in his Garden debut.
Only 43.
I know it was different times, and I know people, really don't they don't appreciate his play from then. Look, the guy averaged 50 for a career. If you did that against air, that's significant. Never fouled out in a single NBA game, and I don't think that was current Garden location. I think there have been 5 different Madison Square Garden locations, and I bet his debut was not in where it is now above Penn Station, but that was something. And Victor Wembanyama, he's got it. Yeah, no,
he does, and these past 2 games, I think his last 2 games, I remember one over the weekend that I was watching and looked really, really good. I got some heat because there was a rebound that he kind of got his hands on but couldn't control, and then the Toronto ended up making a layup to take it to overtime, and Toronto ended up winning that game. But before that was those big games against the Phoenix Suns, and where he really kind of asserted himself.
Sure did.
And really, I think both those games, or one of those games, on national television. And so just huge showings from him, and I think we all knew he was going to be a really, really good player. I don't know if many people thought he was going to be this dominant, this quick into his rookie career.
Now, I forgot there for a second. You're one of the ones that's dubious, that thinks the 100-point game in Hershey, PA.
That's right. Yeah,
But I gave you the book. Did you read it?
I've read a lot of it,
okay.
Yes, and it has changed my mind a little bit. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on it.
It's not a real thick read. It's not War and Peace.
It's very small.
It was almost laid out like a Reader's Digest. Like that.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and hey, it's selling me a little on if it actually happened or not. But hey, if Victor becomes what we think he is, maybe he'll be the real Wilt Chamberlain that never existed
in Hershey, PA,
probably not,
with no TV cameras there.
Doesn't sound like
but
it.
A box score and still photos.
That's right. But hey, I need a little more proof than that, Brett. Fool me once, right?
That's great.
But no, it's going to be fun to watch him. I think. Really, for this Spurs team, I know a lot of people talk about Victor Wembanyama, but we've talked about it a couple of times with Keith Smith, and Keith will join us tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll talk more Victor Wembanyama with him. But this Spurs team is a really fun team, even outside of him. I mean, you have Devin Vassell and Jeremy Shohan and really some good players on that team that really, when Victor Wembanyama is there, and you knew after the draft when they took him that they were going to get a ton of national TV exposure, and it's really cool to see some of these other players benefiting. And I've heard seen on NBA TV, on ESPN, on TNT, these NBA shows starting to talk about Devin Vassell and the player he is, and some of these other guys on the Spurs that are really good players, and because of the kind of publicity the Spurs are getting because of Victor Wembanyama, they're also getting more publicity. So it's cool.
Are you heartbroken over the Ryan Tannehill era being over in
Tennessee?
In Nashville?
No.
Our team, our Titans?
Well, Brett, I can't say that. You can say it if you want.
I really have tried to be a Titans fan, and I'm not anti them because there's so many people with that organization that I really do like. But hadn't come real natural.
Yeah, no, it's never come natural for me.
No. And it's not any of the stuff from the 1 year here.
Right. No, I mean, I obviously wasn't around for that. I think my father despises them a little because of that.
There's some of that.
Sure. So I was never. I mean, it was never even a thought in my mind to be a
Bud
Titans.
Adams. Bud's a nickname,
right?
And he, I guess, his whole life went by Bud, but the initials, and I don't know what they mean. His initials were KS, and like everything was like KS Bud Adams. And back then, guess where I was?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. And on these airwaves, guess what I said the KS stood for?
What's that?
Kind of stupid.
That's great. That's great. I'm sure a lot of people agreed with you.
Only a guy worth.
Yeah.
By today's money. $15 billion, and some yahoo can call him kind of stupid.
Kind of stupid. That's great. That's great. No, but I mean, it was never even a thought for me to be a Titans fan. But I know a lot of Titans fans here in this area. I've got a lot of friends that are Titans fans, and a lot of them.
They're Nashville's team.
They are. They are.
I know they try, and
sure.
I love Mike Keith, and they have tried. But I think they're much more East Tennessee's team than West Tennessee's.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you got Cookville on, that's more Titan country than Jackson on, for sure.
No, I would agree with that.
Maybe even before Jackson.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And you know, the few friends I do have that are fans of the Titans, you know, they've been all gung ho about this new era of quarterbacking, and so it doesn't seem like any of them are too upset about it.
I wouldn't get my hopes up too high.
I wouldn't either. I've tried to temper those expectations with my friends, but I will say this: I'm not a Titans fan, but I did see, I think earlier this week, Nashville announced that they're going to be back in the Arena Football League with the Nashville Cats, spelled with a K, because cool kids spell with a K.
They used to be the Cats.
That's right, and so they're coming back, and I'm telling you right now, Brett, I'm all in on the Nashville Cats.
Arena football exists.
It's making a comeback. It was out for a couple of years. They're making a comeback. 2024 is the year.
Please don't do one in Memphis.
Unfortunately, it does not look like a team in Memphis, good. At least for the inaugural season. You might be against it. Anybody listening, I'm all in on arena football. Bring it to Memphis.
You should be the voice of the Pharaohs.
Hey, if they bring Pharaohs back, I'll be first application. I mean, I'll put it in there.
It was an interesting to fun 2 years, but
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Hey,
no,
I'm telling you, I'm in on the Nashville Cats. I'm going to try my hardest to make it to a Nashville Cats game when they debut. 2024, I think.
So where will they play in Nashville? Bridgestone?
I have no idea. I think it's all kind of maybe
they
can announcement. No, you certainly cannot. I would probably guess, but I really have no idea. I don't think it might have been announced, but I really don't think so. So
what other cities? I wonder how many blasts from the past are there?
I don't know how many blasts from the past.
Wait a second. Did Nashville have a team? Did they have an arena team? Was it Cats?
Yeah, they were the Cats.
Okay.
So it was. From 1997 to 2001, then from 2005 to 2007, and now back for 2004.
We were 94, 95.
Okay.
Is that right?
Brett, your guess is good as well.
Yeah.
I do not know. But yeah, so they're coming back. Let's see.
Are we 95, 96?
They will play at Nashville Municipal Auditorium.
Okay, that's very dated place.
I don't have much on Nashville Municipal Auditorium.
You hadn't missed much.
But hey, the home of the Cats.
Okay.
All right, I love it. And they're going to play one game in Clarksville.
What other teams?
I don't know. They're rolling them all out.
Tampa Bay Storm?
Maybe.
Milwaukee Mustangs?
Maybe. Let's see.
Iowa Barnstormers?
Let's see if I can find
Connecticut. What was Connecticut? I'm about tapped out on names.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
St. Louis.
It's very weird how they're
Stallions?
doing it. Maybe. Let's see. Teams. The Albany Firebirds.
They were around, yeah.
Okay. The Billings Outlaws.
No Billings.
Chicago Rush.
No, I don't think so.
Iowa Rampage.
Rampage. Iowa Barnstormers were Kurt Warner's team.
This used to be a team. I think they were the New Orleans Voodoo, but now they're the Louisiana Voodoo. Because Danny Wimprine played for the New Orleans Voodoo.
Yeah, we didn't go to New Orleans.
The Oregon Black Bears.
Well, Memphis left to become the Portland something and others.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. Orlando Predators?
Yeah, they were around.
And that looks like maybe a Washington Wolfpack.
No.
And the Wichita Regulators.
That sounds like people from the government, doesn't it?
That I don't know about that one.
Like scrolling down the list, going, you owe cash.
Yeah, that's right. So that seems. Oh, we've got some that have been announced but aren't finalized yet. Florida Cyclones.
No.
Austin Wranglers.
No.
Minnesota Myth.
No.
Cleveland Gladiators.
No Cleveland. No.
St. Louis. Team not yet named, I guess.
I think Stallions.
Really? Well, maybe they'll go back to the Stallions.
Former member of the St. Louis Cardinals football team, the Big Red, Jim Otis, was like general manager, had a piece of the ownership group.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So, and
that was really neat meeting Jim Otis.
Yeah. Well, so, yeah.
Could you at all explain who Jim Otis is?
I couldn't tell you.
Very famous college.
Okay.
Very famous player for a famous coach.
Okay.
Would that help? Big Ten.
No.
Tough, rough and tumble football. Straight ahead.
Iowa.
Ohio State.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I had nothing for it. But I'm just excited the AFL is coming back. The Arena Football League is coming back. I'll be...
Tell me all about it.
You know, Brett, you always need updates on hockey, what's going on in the world in hockey. I will be your guy for Arena Football League. You won't miss anything with me. So it will be a lot of fun. But tonight... Grizzlies in action. I know we'll talk about it later. We'll talk some Grizzlies at 3:45 in their game tonight
Portland
against
Forest
the Heat.
Dragons. It just came to me.
Portland Forest Dragons?
Yes.
That is quite the name, I've got to say. Yes. Interesting. But game tonight for the Grizzlies against the Heat. We talked about it yesterday. The injury report, I guess status report is what they like to call it because some of the guys are sent down to the G League, stuff like that. It's pretty long. I think 10 guys available for the Grizzlies tonight against the Heat. So pretty thin, and you're playing a Heat team coming off a big win the other night at home against the Lakers. But an opportunity for the Grizzlies to get their first home win of the season tonight.
When do they have to decide on J.J. Jackson's roster status? Gigi Jackson.
So it sounds like they're going to send him down, and he was on the stash report, send him down to the G League and let him play most of the time in the G League. I think they can call him up whenever, but it's an X amount of days he can be up with the big league team before he has to either sign a full contract.
That's got to be handled carefully.
It really does. You're right. And I think a lot of excitement about Gigi. I think is a guy that could really get people down to South Haven to some Memphis Hustle games to see his progression and his play. I'm excited. I want to go down there and see him play because, I mean, we've talked about it before. A guy that coming out of high school, reclassified, 5-star guy, highly rated recruit, was supposed to go to North Carolina before changing his mind and going to South Carolina. And we've talked about kind of the year at South Carolina. It had its ups and downs.
New coach, rough year.
Yeah, it was a rough year. But, being able to get him in the second round and get him on a two-way contract, I think is huge for the Grizzlies. But you're right. You got to be very careful how you work that and hopefully can be around a lot of good dudes. I've said this before, I love how the Grizzlies have set up their G League organization where it's right down the road.
I do too.
In South Haven, where you can bring those guys. I know a lot of times they'll have these two-way guys and guys that are playing G League and NBA minutes. They'll send them down for practice or they'll bring them up for practice, that sort of thing, and kind of go back and forth. So I love how they do that because I think it will give Gigi an opportunity to get those reps down in South Haven, but also be around these veterans and these guys like Desmond Bain, like Jaron, like Ja, these guys that have been in the league for a while that can give him some pointers and point him into the right direction. But it should be a fun night tonight. We'll talk a lot of Grizzlies today with that game tonight against the Miami Heat. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, it's officially time. We've got to go through our wins and losses for the Memphis basketball team. We all said, pencil that first game in as a W. We all work on the honor system around here. We all had it a win. But going forward, we'll have to go through our wins and losses. And Brett, I got to tell you, I think I have 2 games left on my schedule that I cannot pick a win or a loss for.
You got 16 minutes.
I got 16 minutes to decide, and then I'm going to take all 16 of those minutes is going to come down to the wire. But we'll get to our W's and L's for the Tigers in our next segment. 3:45, we'll get into this Grizzlies-Heat game tonight at FedEx Forum. 4 o'clock, David Cohn, the co-host of Crane & Company, will join us to talk college football. And with the recent and more developments with Michigan, we've got to ask him his thoughts on what's going on at Michigan, his alma mater, and get his thoughts on everything around the country in college football. 4:30, we'll take a look at those college football and NFL lines, as we always do on a Wednesday afternoon. Talk about, what are they looking like right now as we're getting closer to the weekend. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney at CBB_Central on Twitter, also with Sports Illustrated, will join us to talk college basketball, as we've got, 2 days in the books now of college basketball, an eventful 2 days, so we'll get all of his thoughts on what we've already seen, some games coming up later in this week. I believe he told us last week, we'll have to check with him when he joins us. He's up in Chicago.
I believe he's at that big game tonight.
I think he's going to be at both those games tonight.
Yeah, FAU and
Loyola, and then the late game, Arizona State and Mississippi State. So
that's a good one.
2 really good games. I believe Kevin is going to be there for both those games. So we'll have to ask him when he joins at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. The Overstock Sale. Family Leisure needs your help to clear out their overstock inventory. Select patio sets up to 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. The winter closing items are now up to 30% off. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off their in-stock items. Family Leisure also has saunas, massage chairs, arcades, and theater seating, all with free delivery and special financing. It's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
And we made it through 17 minutes with no outrage from last night's CFP poll.
Wow, look at us, Brett.
Can you do that? Is that allowed?
I don't know.
In Sports Talk Radio, not to be outraged.
We might get to a break and we might walk out in the hall and they say, don't go back on.
That's it. Because we didn't have enough outrage.
No, not enough outrage.
I like to reserve my outrage for things that are actually outrageous.
I agree.
And it will change this weekend with play. He's Brian. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us as well. And you can join us at 901-360-8255. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on the remaining 2023 models and the 2024s rolling in, taking over, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But better than that, stop by at Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 or 24 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, Brett, my top story of the day has just changed because I have some breaking news. John Heyman reporting breaking Angels have hired Ron Washington for their manager job. 71-year-old Ron Washington back as a manager in Major League Baseball. He's been with the Braves the last couple of years as their third base coach, so obviously still a part of a franchise that is known for winning, and I was a big fan of him during his managerial career
World Series
with the Rangers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, has been there, and has also been a coach at that high level with these Brave teams, was part of that World Series team in 2021 with the Braves. So I think this is a good hire. I like it.
Another seasoned veteran.
Yeah, another seasoned veteran. And it seems like, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, but it maybe looking like some of these front offices are turning back.
The field manager.
Instead of the analysis and overanalyzing everything, let's get back to the old school field manager. So it's an interesting hire, and Brett, I'm excited that this is breaking news because I may or may not have a list of potential spots for Shohei Ohtani where the Angels are on there as a formality. But does this change things?
We'll see.
Could he go back to the Angels?
Leaves only Houston to have a manager, a field manager that needs to be hired in the American League and in the National League. The National League, they have 2 openings. Of course, Milwaukee is open after the Cubs stole their manager, and San Francisco is open.
Brett, I don't think in
maybe 3, maybe San Diego too.
I don't think in 2023 I would be saying, oh, star player Mike Trout, manager Ron Washington. I didn't predict that 5 or 6 years ago.
I didn't either, but I love Tim Doolin. Yesterday he was giving the sermonette to Dave about it. Let's value the field manager a little more, and I am with him. My top story: Grizzlies back home, and what a difference 2 weeks can make. The hope of opening night has dissipated, and even for some, fallen into despair with this hopeless 1-6 start, 0-3 at FedEx Forum, 1-3 on the road. NBA finalist Miami in town tonight against the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies kind of in need of re-engaging a little bit with its fans. No panic buttons being hit, but maybe some alarms need to be sounded. Maybe not the panic button. The fine line between the panic button and just pulling an alarm. This market can get real fickle real quick. It's very loyal, but it can get fickle pretty quick with in-house attendance. We know that. Better not lose the fans, because I think in today's sports entertainment market, it's harder and harder to keep getting them back. You better get them and keep them instead of maybe getting them, losing them, getting them back, losing them. You better keep them.
Not top story of the day.
Well, I'm going to stick right there with my not top story of the day. I saw, I guess, on Twitter, a Twitter account that focuses on basketball. I think Clutch Sports is maybe the Twitter handle, or X handle if you're hip and want to call it X.
I like to call it the Twixter.
The Twixter, I like that. It's very hip, maybe ultra hip from you, Brett.
It really is.
But I saw a lot of outrage this morning because this account tweeted that the Grizzlies only had 6 available players tonight because of all the injuries, and a lot of people were pointing out, no, they have 10. Is math hard, or what happened there? They ended up deleting the post, but you look at this injury report. We know Steven Adams, we know Brandon Clark, we know John Morant, but outside of that, obviously Gigi Jackson, who hasn't gotten really any run this year, he's on that 2-way transfer down to the G League. Jake LaRavia on a G League good Lord, let me try this again. Jake LaRavia on a G League assignment, and obviously his minutes have been limited to start the season, but also Derrick Rose out, Xavier Tillman out, Vince Williams also a 2-way transfer, so they're going to be limited tonight. John Conchar is doubtful with a right hip strain, so we'll see if he can play. So no question they're going to be limited. About 10 available guys for the Grizzlies, but I think you can feel pretty confident with those 10 guys you've got out there. A home game against the Heat. Can they bounce back and grab a win at home? Their first win at home it would be tonight, so hopefully they can go out and do it. You need a big game from Desmond Bane. You need a big game from Jaren Jackson Jr., and let's see what Bismack Biyombo do we get. A good game from him.
Fan favorite, Bismack Biyombo.
Yeah, Bizblock, maybe Grizbiz, if you will, but a really good game in his first real minutes the other night against Portland. Can he do it again at home?
My not top story, it's not outrage. It's the college football rankings from last night. Again, how goofy and unnecessary was last week. It was a waste of electricity and brain power. And this week, it's not much more. Next week at this time, the rankings from last night will feel just as feckless because things are going to change. We've got the most important month in front of us. I wish they wouldn't have these early releases, but they do. It's going to play out on the field. It always does. And last night, during the release, I was at a place, and a friend, like when it was getting ready to pop up, a friend said, aren't you interested in this? I said, not at all.
Not at all.
Well, why should it be? Well, Ole Miss, look, there they are at 9. I went, if you don't win this week, might as well be 29.
That's right. Yeah, John kind of said the same thing, and I told John, I said, I didn't even watch a second of it last night, John. I mean, on November 8th, it doesn't matter. It's
like polling in political races. The only poll that matters is Election Day.
Yeah, and I've even heard some people say, well, maybe it doesn't matter for the top 4, but, when you're looking at the group of 5 representative, that matters. Well, now with what James Madison's trying to do to get everything switched, it really doesn't matter because James Madison could be thrown in there in a couple of weeks. So it's interesting, but hey, I mean, I guess it's television, something to put on ESPN and get people talking, so I guess good on you, ESPN. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we got to break down this Memphis Tiger basketball schedule, get to our wins and losses for the season. That's next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM. And 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Shopping at DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Genesis Diamond's first ever 3-day store-wide sale is this weekend. 3 days of mind-blowing savings, up to 35% off. Earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, plus thousands of engagement rings, all on sale. Designer jewelry has been flown in from New York and California for this. Certified diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Don't miss the biggest and best store-wide event all year. Save 20, 30, even 35%. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamond. Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop here on Sports 56. Real sports talk.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Going back into Sports Time, Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And the Tigers, they've got one game in the books, a win over Jackson State. But they've got the rest of the season remaining, and we've got to go through our wins and losses for this season for the Memphis Tigers. Brett, where do you want to start?
I start with this. I feel very confident about my final math result, my final league, my final wins and losses. I don't feel good about my math getting there. Like Friday night, Mizzou.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick that as a loss.
Okay.
That could be a win, and the game, a game later that I may have as a loss could be a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily. Texas A&M.
Sure.
Great example of that. Mm-hmm. So you get Friday night, you miss A&M. I pick the other way on each of them.
Sure.
And when I get to the bottom, I think I'm going to be right on that.
Okay.
But it's going to be a struggle bus to get these, and especially these early ones.
Oh, absolutely.
So I start with a loss at Mizzou Friday night.
Okay.
You?
I also start with a loss against Missouri.
And I'm not saying there's no need to go and play the game.
No, but I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's your first road game of the season. Missouri is a good team. It's a very well-coached team. And so, I mean, I think they're going to struggle, and I think if you have some of those same struggles you had against Jackson State, I think you lose the game against Missouri.
At a place that's got the magic back in their building.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do. The Dennis Gates got that last year. Both of us have wins over Alabama State.
Yes.
A week from Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then to the Bahamas. And this can be really tricky.
Yep.
We can take an easy way out.
Okay.
We know they're playing Michigan. We don't know anything else
Michigan. That's right.
down there. But we know they're going to play Mighty Big Blue. I have it as a win.
I have it as a win as well. But that's going to be a tough game.
Now this is where we could the rest of the way. We don't know who they're playing. No. So how can we pick a game? But I know who we want them to play that Thursday.
And I think I know who they'll play if they beat Michigan. I think I have a good feeling on who they'll play.
I do too. They're going to play Arkansas.
Yeah.
What a Thanksgiving day of sports.
That's unbelievable.
And I love that week. I say it many times. I say it a lot about a lot of weeks too. But that week stands out to me as one of my favorite because it's such a buffet of sport. Mm-hmm. Pro football, college football, NBA, college basketball. It's just everywhere, and it's on every way. It's not on at 2 o'clock in the morning, but from about 10 o'clock in the morning on that entire week, there's something pretty good on.
Absolutely. So
and
it's
then all
fun.
the food.
Of
and
course.
for me to be at the Egg Bowl, I love that.
Yeah.
I got them playing Arkansas, and I have the Razorbacks winning.
Okay, I also have them playing Arkansas, and I have the Razorbacks winning.
So you have a loss. So we're exact so far. Mm-hmm. That third game in the Bahamas, I don't know who it's against, but I'm saying a win. 2-1 in the Bahamas.
I think if you just go on better team winning, I think they would either play Villanova or North Carolina in that game, and I say either way it's a loss. So I have them going.
Oh, you do?
I do. I have them going 1-2 in the Bahamas.
And that could happen.
Yeah, very easily, I think.
And I don't think there's one thing to explain after that.
No, I mean that's
0-3. We might have to have a conversation, but that's not a heavy critical conversation.
No, I don't think so. I mean this is a loaded field. I mean I remember we were talking to Jason Munns. I think it was Jason Munns we were talking to a couple weeks ago that said when you look at KenPom, I think 7 of the 8 teams in this bracket are in the top 50 in KenPom, and then the other team is Northern Iowa, and they're in the top 100. So, I mean, this is a loaded field, and it's hard to win games, especially early at a neutral site.
Pretty good win last night for North Texas over Northern Iowa.
A really good win.
I don't know how it holds up, but sometimes Northern Iowa's in that valley mix.
Absolutely.
All right, then get back after the Bahamas. however it shakes out, got to get ready to go to Oxford and play Chris Beard's Ole Miss Rebels. This is a classic one for me.
Sure.
I'm picking it as a loss.
Okay.
Not because I have to. Nobody's making me. In fact, last year when we did this, I picked Memphis to win.
Yep.
2 years ago when it was in Oxford, I picked Ole Miss to win.
Yeah.
Mostly home court is most of the reasoning for picking this. This could be a Tiger win and then a loss at VCU that I have a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I have both these games as wins, and I went back and forth a really long time on this Ole Miss game. A road game down in Oxford. It's tough. The last time Memphis was in down in Oxford, it was a loss for the Tigers, and we remember that was the Imani Bates game where
Duran got one.
Duran had a really bad game.
1 point.
And that was when Imani Bates was walking
almost
off,
impossible.
and students were yelling at him. Yeah, it really is. So
they got on Imani hard. They were
sure
ready
did.
for that day.
They were, and I think they'll be ready for this game. And I think Ole Miss will be a better team this year than they were when Memphis went down there last time. But I have it as a win. I have VCU as a win as well.
Same, Virginia Common, both of us with wins. On a Sunday afternoon down at Texas A&M, I told you the other day, Ross Bjork talking that Buzz Williams really feels like this is a Final Four run team at Texas A&M. They've had some 16s. I don't know that they've ever been to an 8, but a loss at A&M.
I also have a loss at Texas A&M. I think it's going to be a really good Texas A&M team, like you said. And I said this the other day. I've seen a lot of people saying the SEC is really a race between Tennessee and Texas A&M this year, and so I'm going to take that as a loss as well.
Spoiler alert: whole bunch of winning from me from here on.
Okay, I like it.
Very few losses.
I like it.
All the way through. Home against Clemson, W.
I also have a W against Clemson.
Home against ACC Virginia, just like Clemson, W.
I have an L. I think that's going to be a coaching mismatch. I mean, you've got a veteran in Tony Bennett. I think they're going to it'll be a close one, but I think they win it.
In most games out, isn't it perceived as a coaching mismatch, Tony Bennett's favor?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, he's one of the best. You talk about kind of that regime. Yeah, I mean, you talk about that regime of coaches that are still in the game that are, I mean, no doubt Hall of Fame guys, and he's certainly one of them.
He was at Washington State, and it was the Tigers' 08 run.
Yeah.
Most everybody from here was covering the Tigers.
Sure.
I was covering Tennessee at the Sweet 16 round in Charlotte. Tennessee, Louisville, North Carolina, and Washington State. Tony Bennett's head coach at Washington State. And my assigned seat was literally right behind the Washington State bench that night. And I think at the second game it was right behind Patino at Louisville.
Oh, wow.
And that night, Washington State was just getting blasted early. Yeah. They had no chance. And then they get a real shaky call, a real questionable call. And he turned around, and just because I was the guy sitting there, he turned around and looked right at me. He goes, "My team is playing like blank," but that was a bad call, wasn't it? I said, "Yes, Coach, it was a bad call."
That's hilarious. Yes, Coach, it was a bad call.
And did it as conversationally as you can do it.
That's so funny.
All right, Vanderbilt at home, boy, I didn't see much in Vandy to like last night.
Yeah, that was an ugly loss last night to Presbyterian. A Presbyterian team that I think only won 5 games last year. I have that as a win for the Tigers at home against Vandy.
Lose to Presbyterian. Home against the Governors, Austin P. W.
Yeah, I've got that one as a W as well.
So that finishes me up non-conference 9-4.
I have them 8-5.
Ooh.
Yep. I hope they do better, but you know
that I think
basketball.
If it's 8-5, I think seed's buried.
Yeah, probably right.
You're in the no man's land 8-9 game, aren't you?
I think so, and that's where I mean you look at a lot of these bracketology. That's where they have them. So. You know,
9-4. I'm not. That's
and Brett. I'll be
7 or 8.
Brett, I'll be honest. I could have very easily been 7-6 if I had. I mean, I went back and forth on Ole Miss a really long time.
No, I was closer to 8-5 than to 9-4, but I wasn't in the ballpark of 7-6.
But I also just want to point this out. I am usually pessimistic by nature. So I'm sure they'll do way better in non-conference. But I'm just pessimist.
All right. Can we fast forward and just pick out the losses in conference instead of going game by game?
Yeah.
Because, look, it's a whole lot of nothing.
It really is.
My 3 conference losses, and I went looking for 3. I was going to find 3 somewhere. It was hard to do in the search for 3. Road at Wichita State, road at Temple, and I don't know if I really believe that, and road at FAU.
Wow,
15-3 in conference, 24-7 overall.
I also have 3 losses, but I went back and forth on a couple of these away games for the Tigers.
You got one at Tulane, don't you?
I have at Tulane as a loss. I mean, Tigers struggle at Tulane. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that gym. I don't know if it's
don't either.
The coaching style. I don't know what it is. Every time they're down there, they struggle.
I'm going to throw this out.
And someone for Tulane has the game of their life shooting threes.
They sure do. There's so few Tulane fans there, and it's so many Tiger fans on the trip and around the hotel. I think they let their guard down a little bit.
They might. And there's some games in here, and my next game is one of them.
I'm not advocating nobody go to New Orleans,
right?
That won't work.
There are a couple in here that are games that are like right behind a loss I have that I could see the Tigers losing, or behind a big game, I should say.
You got to pack your own momentum
and
zeal to play.
And that's what's going to be a problem for a lot of these road games. I mean, you look down the schedule. East Carolina was one of them that I had to look at.
They will have fiery fans at that.
Sure. Well, and that's almost even more of a problem because you look at these road games, Brett. At Tulsa, at Wichita State, at Tulane, at UAB, at Temple, at North Texas, at SMU, at East Carolina, at Florida Atlantic. Memphis is going to be a big draw for those fans. It's going to be a big game, and for a lot of those, there's not much to do. East Carolina, being specifically, I always hear Dave. I hear people that go to East Carolina to do radio or writing, covering the game, say there is absolutely nothing to do in these college towns. And so, go to a basketball game. So it's going to be a lot of students there. Kind of same thing with that Ole Miss game a couple years ago. They're going to be targeting players. They're going to be going after you as a team, and it's going to be hard. So
that's their night to make their name, like Tyler from Spartanburg.
Absolutely. So I have a loss at Tulane. Right after that, I have a loss at UAB. I think Andy Kennedy will get this team right. A loss versus who was their first game against Bradley, I believe.
They'll be a lot better at that game than they were opening night.
They'll be a
Bradley.
lot better. I think back-to-back road games for the Tigers. I think they could lose that one at UAB.
All right, does that rise to freak-out level on talk radio?
Oh,
back-to-back roadies in the new vamped AAC.
It really could. I mean, that's back-to-back losses when you're coming home to playing, Brett, your favorite team, Rice. I mean, your friends over in Rice.
I can't shake them.
No, you can't. And then my final.
At least the Tigers don't go there and play in that hideous Autry court.
That's very true. My final loss of the season is a road loss against Florida Atlantic. But I'll be honest with you, Brett. I said earlier I was going back and forth on a couple of games. I think I was going back and forth on 2 games. I was going back and forth on that road Temple game. Really should have lost that game last year at Temple.
Yeah,
now, you got more scores. It didn't.
Great drawn up last play.
Absolutely. And then that road game against East Carolina, I've seen the Tigers multiple times have just awful road games at East Carolina, but a lot of times they pull it out and win. I've seen a couple of times them lose those games, but I have 3 losses in conference, 5 losses in the non-conference slate. So I have the Tigers finishing 23-8.
That's
in the
what they went
season.
last year. That's what I picked last year. This year I'm 24-7, 9-4-9, 15-3 in conference. And Tiger fans will go to a lot of these. There will be Tiger fans at Tulsa.
Sure.
There'll be a lot of Tiger fans in Atlantis.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot. I just got a text from one that there'll be a good number Friday night in Columbia Mo.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a fun game. I'm so excited for that game, Brett.
But how many Tiger fans are? I guess would go to Boca, and there are Memphis affiliated, related people that live in Boca that were Tiger fans. I know that.
But I mean, who's going to Temple? I mean,
if you were going to do that, haven't you done it by now in the AAC?
East Carolina,
Wichita
same
State,
thing.
even
Wichita State, yeah. Now there are,
but you go to see your team.
You do, and there are some fans that you see at every road game when ESPN Plus goes to that section of Tiger fans. It's the same ones you see every time, and they're dedicated to going to these road games, and it helps the Tigers for sure.
And like I say about the football fans, we need more.
We need more, absolutely.
You need more fans like that.
Absolutely.
Now, it's no castigation, criticism of those good people.
Not at all. Not at all. But a big game against Missouri on Friday. We both have that as well. Johnny also, Johnny, what was your final record for the Tigers? 23-8. Didn't you have the same as me? Yeah. Let's see. Let's take a look at Johnny.
Let's examine
We're
Johnny.
very a little peek behind the curtain. We're a little awkward in here. We'll be back to normal tomorrow. Let's see, Johnny. We'll just go through Johnny's losses. A loss against Michigan. Oh, a loss in the Bahamas.
Johnny, the alumni office just called and want the diploma back.
They do want your diploma back. That's
come on,
that's
Johnny.
Rough. Oh man. He also has a loss against. I guess they would be playing Stanford in that game if they lost to Michigan.
I don't even know what the bracket is after
that.
Oh
man, yeah, it's a mess after that. He has a loss against Ole Miss. He has a loss against Texas A&M. Those are his only
Johnny,
two other losses.
Johnny, the alumni office just called and said you're not welcomed on campus
you're
anymore
not,
after that Ole Miss pick.
You forget your work with the football team. He has a loss against UAB. He has a loss against SMU. He has a loss against Florida Atlantic.
Why does Johnny hate the Tigers?
I'm just glad I didn't get the. I mean, we have identical records. I'm glad I didn't get this. Why does Brian hate the Tigers
here?
Nobody hates the Tigers. It's hard to win college basketball.
And we hope we start out wrong Friday night.
Absolutely. I hope they go undefeated. I mean, as a guy that went to Memphis, I hope they're perfect on the season. But it really is hard to win games in college basketball.
It's going to be a fun year, and we'll get to Coach Hardaway's comments at practice today a little bit later. A lot of things to touch on there. So many great locations for Jason Deli. I guarantee you, wherever you are in our area, there's one close by, like at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland over by the University of Memphis, at Olive Branch and at Cordova. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. And yes, in all these locations, Christmas tree, holiday decorations going up really soon. Trans fat free as well. Jason Deli, all about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu. Vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals. If you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you will be delighted at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and for any catering need, any get-together you have, 5 or 5,000, let them take care of you. Complimentary free ice cream in all these locations and these menus for every occasion, like the pasta feast, the plain Jane potato bar, the grand potato bar package. They've got it. The flatbread breakfast box, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have it, bringing more to the table. It's a family thing. Whether you're dining in, you're getting it to go, or delivery. Over 200 area Memphis associates at this Jason's Deli group, and they love being a part of the community, a fabric of the community. All the soups, all the breads, the meats, the cheeses, the spreads, they have it. And it's soup season. It's always soup season at Jason's Deli. Whether it's a cup or a bowl, the broccoli cheese, chicken noodle, fire roasted tortilla, and my favorite, the Texas-style chili that means beanless. Locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Catering anytime, anywhere. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a quick break. When we return, we'll preview this game tonight for the Grizzlies against the Heat. That's next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 1717.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg at East Memphis Ace. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched, authentic wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South White Station and Quince Road.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios. And I know we're going to talk Grizzlies, but I do want to bring this up because we got a text message from Reggie while we were talking about our Tiger basketball picks. Reggie, first off, thanks for the text message. Yep. Really appreciate it. How do you guys talk about how good this team is preseason and are now giving them 7 to 9 losses? I don't get it. Did you forget how good they are, or is this because they didn't get DeAndre back? Just like you said, Brett, this is extremely tough non-conference
I would have picked
schedule.
the same with DeAndre.
I think so. And, we talked to David Cobb. We talked to Kevin Sweeney. All of them talk about how tough of a schedule it is. And at the end of the day, it's really hard to win it's hard to win games in college basketball. I'm also a pessimist. So let me put that out there again. I'm very pessimistic. I think they could easily be better than a 23-8. Very easily. Could only lose 5 games, 4 games. But it's hard to win basketball games. It's hard to be kind of the, as a lot of people, I hate using this word in college sports, but it's hard to be other teams' Super Bowl every single night when you play them and win those games. And with the new pieces, with this new team, how do they gel? I think right now they're gelling really well. How does that change? It's hard to win college basketball games.
I could change conference from 15-3 to 16-2 easier than I could change my non from 9-4 to 10-3 or 11-2. I could change conference to 16-2. I'm not going to. I could even change conference to 17-1 or 18-0.
Yeah.
Would you want that though? I asked that to Reggie and to Tiger fans. Would you want to be 18-0 and rolling, then maybe have that toe stubber at Fort Worth at Dickies Arena, and that air out of the balloon as you're heading into the tournament?
Interesting. That's tough.
We know that dynamic.
Yeah.
And we know how in one of these lesser conferences it gets at the end of the year.
Well, and that's kind of what we have seen and obviously a little further in how long they've been in this year, what they've built up in Gonzaga. That's the kind of the conversation every single year with Gonzaga of, you play a cupcake conference schedule and you're not tested at all, and then once you get to either the conference championship, maybe you stub your toe in that conference tournament, or you get to the tournament and you lose in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 because you're such a high seed, you might get another cupcake 16 seed, 15 seed in those first rounds. But then after that, once you get to the actual competition, you get I mean, you look like you can't hang with them because you haven't been playing that competition all conference season.
What will really help on the net front, on the RPI front, on all those metrics will be those games back-to-back schedule-wise against Clemson and Virginia. Because I have it 2-0, you have it 1-1.
Yeah.
If I'm right, then go Clemson, go Virginia.
Absolutely. 100%.
Finish in the top 5 or top 6 in the ACC.
That's a lot of these teams, Brett. I mean, you're playing some really good
Texas
competition.
A&M.
Absolutely, and you're playing competition that are in the SEC, in the Big Ten, in the ACC, that are going to play other really tough competition.
Doesn't look like Vandy's going to get you much.
No, it really doesn't.
It did hold up last year, though.
And it did, and we saw that kind of late push by Vanderbilt, kind of ho-hum non-conference slate. But then when they got to conference, they really started turning it on and upsetting a lot of really good teams. So, I mean, maybe you see something like that again. I was really disappointed in what I saw from Vanderbilt. I know they had an injury or two, but I was really disappointed last night.
There's going to be a lot of games in conference that the day after winning them, you're going to drop in the net.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You win at Texas San Antonio, it's not going to help you.
No.
Or at home against Texas San Antonio.
No, but I mean, that's a lot of these games. I mean, Charlotte,
road at North Texas.
Yeah, East Carolina. I mean,
think people were mad over a road win in football.
No, jeez. Yeah, just wait. No, but it is interesting. I'm excited for the season. I mean, I know we were one game under our belt, but Missouri on Friday, and then you really get it going here in about a week or so with that battle for Atlantis. But tonight, Grizzlies in action against the Heat. What are some of your biggest keys tonight for the Grizzlies against this Heat team?
I love the Heat style, the Heat way. Just everybody in sports wants to, be Yankees, Dodgers, Cowboys, Steelers, NBA, Celtics. I said Lakers, Spurs, Warriors. This Heat way. I mean, this would be the style that I would want this franchise, the Memphis Grizzlies franchise. I would love for it to become that.
Yeah, no, I would as well, and I think it really could. One thing I'm going to be watching tonight is, I mentioned it earlier with my Not Top Story of the Day, Bismack Biyombo. I mean, we saw him get some run, 30 seconds in that first game, and then in the second game really got a lot more time and looked much better and really played a huge role in that win for the Grizzlies. So what can he do tonight at home going up against Bam Adebayo? I mean, a really good center in the league. Can he have another good game where you're not asking for a ton from him? You're not asking for a double-double from him. You're just asking for him to be a body out there. And
you don't have to be Shaq.
No. We just need a couple points, some rebounds for sure, set some screens,
which
get
is
some
a good
blocks.
thing because he's not Shaq.
No, he is not. So I'm interested to see what night 2 looks like for him, and here in a couple hours we'll be watching that game and seeing what this Grizzlies team can do against the Heat. But let's go ahead, wrap up this hour, and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk college football with David Cohn.
Genesis Diamond's first ever 3-day store-wide sale is this weekend. 3 days of mind-blowing savings, up to 35% off. Earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, plus thousands of engagement rings, all on sale. Designer jewelry has been flown in from New York and California for this. Certified diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Don't miss the biggest and best store-wide event all year. Save 20, 30, even 35% this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamond, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Sports and blinds, they just go together. And right now, all Sports 56 listeners get $50 off any order at Blinds Etc. South. Real wood, 3.5 to 4.5 inch plantation shutters made in the Mid-South are always affordable at Blinds Etc. South. And now get $50 off your order. Get your free in-home consultation at 901-681-0225 or go to blindsetcetera.southllc.com. Upgrade your home with custom-made plantation shutters and window treatments from Blinds Etc. South.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I like putting a spread bet together with the over for my parlays, and anytime player touchdown always has me on the edge of my seat. So if you're ready to do the same, visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Grind don't stop. Join Jaron Dez and your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 7 p.m. when they host the Miami Heat for State of Tennessee HBCU Day presented by Pinnacle Financial Partners. Secure your tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP or visiting grizzlies.com.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
On the scene of an accident. It's going to be on Austin P Highway out near 385 as traffic starts to increase now over here on Sam Cooper going outbound, passing Perkins. It looks good right now on 240 eastbound from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, they're located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
College football talk as David Cohn, the co-host of Crane & Company with Jake Crane, joins Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan, a college quarterback at Michigan, a tall man that's on Twitter at David Adam Cohn. Here's David with Bryant and Brett.
David Cohn joins us now, the co-host of Crane & Company, to talk some college football. And David, I apologize, but it feels like this is how we have to start every segment with you because you are our Michigan guy now.
Man, you are catching the incoming, David.
You really are. But another week, more information on the Michigan scandal, I guess you could call it. What have you made of the recent things? Now Michigan saying, hey, we're not the only ones doing it. We have proof that we have other people in our conference doing the same thing.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much again for having me. It's always an honor. I have to chuckle when I hear you say the phrase, we have more information every day.
Yeah.
Do we actually have more information?
No.
Great comeback.
Do we just have more noise?
More regurgitation,
right.
David.
That's a good point.
And that's part of the whole media play, that we've talked about ad nauseum the last couple of weeks that I've been on. Yeah, look, I've talked to my Michigan insider friends, and Michigan has a dossier that they've put together on other programs in the Big Ten that's quite thick and goes back some decades. And I assure you that no one wants to turn this into a war or some sort of food fighting contest. And even if that does happen between these Big Ten schools, I mean, a few things from the Michigan perspective, you just pointing out that all the other teams are also violating rules doesn't mean you didn't do that, right? Like what I've been saying this whole time is, again, let's start with a first principle approach. Why is this so difficult? What rules were broken? Who broke them? Where's the evidence? And what is the punishment? And let's get on with it. It's like targeting in a football game, right? Like if someone commits targeting, you don't then say, well, that team lost and they have to forfeit all the other wins from the season, right? Like whatever the punishment comes from, whatever evidence you have needs to be commensurate with the crime. But yes, it is so funny to see what I've talked about with you guys is you're seeing two things play out simultaneously here, coming from the NCAA and ESPN, who all have their vested interest. They want to hold Michigan guilty in the court of public opinion, with something that's against the spirit of the game, this sign stealing and knowing what your opponent's going to run somehow. But then, that's not against the rules, so they actually have to hold them accountable through violations with the letter of the rules, which is, you actually just can't go scout an opponent in person. Well, now that Michigan has all this evidence on all the other Big Ten teams, that puts to bed this whole thing. Well, you can't come after the integrity of the game argument there, which I think is interesting. The NCAA's rules deal with in-person scouting. The Big Ten rules are different. That deals with sportsmanship. And I think that I'm really hoping right now that rookie commissioner Tony Petitti in the Big Ten is not in over his head. Yeah. I'm really hoping that it's not. Some people that I've talked to, Tim Brando and others, assure me that he's seasoned, he knows what he's talking about. But right now, everyone else wins. ESPN wins, the SEC wins, the other conferences win by the Big Ten having some sort of food fight out in front of everyone. I find it very disheartening and disrespectful because we should be talking about the huge matchups that are happening this weekend and whether or not Michigan can go on the road to State College and win in Beaver Stadium, and if J.J. McCarthy can actually have that Heisman moment that he's been looking for. Yeah. But instead, we're sort of hashing out this high school melodrama, which I really don't understand, especially when it comes to, we're talking about the game of football here, right? We're trying to play football and scout our opponents and do the best we can.
And, David, I think there's a simple reason why Michigan is so under the microscope. You don't win any Pulitzers getting Purdue in trouble.
Sure. There's several different angles here, but like we've said, ESPN the NCAA wants to make college football look as bad as it can because the vice grip has loosened, right?
They can't control
on that. Yeah. But they can't control it. They want to bring down college football, which you even saw. They knew about Cam Newton getting paid before the season starts, but the news comes out the week before Auburn plays Georgia in 2010. How does that happen? Supposedly they've known about this information with Michigan going way back into the offseason, but it breaks the day before Michigan and Michigan State play. Please stop it. The NCAA
who bankrolled it?
College football to look good. So that's one thing. ESPN then has a vested financial interest in the Big Ten looking bad, right? Like they have a financial television deal with the college football playoffs and all of the other conferences. So it's very difficult for me to watch every single talking head host go on there and simultaneously, as if the memo came down from on high, say all of the same talking points that somehow make Michigan and the Big Ten look bad. All of that's true regardless if rules were broken or not. And then to your final point that you just made, yes, this is what happens when you win and you're on top. The funny thing for me, as having played at Michigan, is we hadn't even won a national championship. Can we at least win the big one first before everyone tries to bring us down? Because then you could at least say, hey, this is what you have to endure, Michigan fans and Michigan as an institution. This is what you have to endure if you truly want to be on top. You don't think everybody wants to take Nick Saban down any way they can, or Bill Belichick, or Tom Brady? I never thought I'd see anything sillier than Tom Brady receiving a 4-game suspension for wanting the football a little bit less inflated. That was insane to me.
So did Andrew Luck in the same game.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers on the opposite side of that said, well, I wanted mine inflated beyond what the regulation was. I like throwing the ball as inflated as it can possibly be. I never thought I'd see anything sillier than that, but this is certainly coming close.
Yeah, that is a really, really good point. All right, one last thing about this, and I promise we're going to get to the games. Who do you think bankrolled the whole sting operation?
Well, I have no idea, and I'm fine saying that, right? Like, this is what I want everyone else to say is let the investigation play out and see what sort of information comes to light.
No, David, we don't do that anymore. We have the hanging before we have the trial.
Right. I've heard all of these rumors, right? Like, well, clearly Ryan Day's behind this, head coach at OSU, and his brother runs the investigation firm. And the fact when he was asked about it, he didn't even say no. He just said, "I'm not going to comment on it." Of course, I saw that video. I don't also want to be guilty of what everyone on the other side of it is, which is bringing some sort of partisan hat into this. Like I told you guys last week, I love college football more than I just love Michigan football. All I wanted to do growing up in South Georgia was play college football. Michigan gave me that chance. So I went up there. I'm proud to have gone there. And, I want it to be true that they didn't knowingly violate any rules, or at least certainly didn't. Like, the worst thing you could do is like, go and pay a referee to make certain calls, right? Or to break into your opponent's locker room and steal their playbooks or something like that. We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about like actually trying to within the framework of what the bylaws say, attempting to put together what everyone's trying to do, the most competitive football program you possibly can. And even despite all that, the SEC has won all these championships because it's that tough to compete with them. They're that good at football. And, this year specifically, I think we're seeing such great football being played across the country. When I look at what the Pac-12 has done, man, those are legitimate football teams out there. As that conference breathes
about
its last breath of existence before next year, you're looking at several undefeated teams up here in the Big Ten East. You got Florida State hanging on the ACC. Georgia's looking as good as they've ever looked. Alabama now just no one wants to play Alabama. One loss still could make the college football playoff. Texas looking great. And I see, because I keep up with the sport, I can see the propaganda at play here from this story. And again, I say that regardless of if rules were broken or not. And any time rules are broken and you have evidence, there needs to be some sort of punishment with that. I'm not trying to wear Michigan-colored glasses here. I just the lack of subtlety with the propaganda that I see with this, when we're in the middle of an outstanding college football season, it disgusts me.
Well said. Can James Franklin finally win the big one?
Yes. I mean, Penn State can win this football game, make no doubt about it. Now, I don't think they have an advantage over Michigan in every area, but hey, if the most talented roster won every game, it'd be a pretty boring sport, right? That's why we play the football game.
That's kind of what 2023's look like.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, James Franklin won 9 games twice at Vanderbilt. Show me a coach that's done that. And, the thing about it is you go 11-2 and you beat everyone you're supposed to. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy's gotten the program here that's going 11-2 and beating everyone he's supposed to, but can't win the quote unquote big games. Look, Michigan and OSU have been. That's the gold standard in the conference. And I know Penn State fans are saying, yeah, but that's what we want. We want a coach that can do that. Trust me, I know what you're saying. I had to deal with Jim Harbaugh losing to our biggest rival, 7 straight years in a row before he finally got over that hump. Yeah. I know what the argument is. But Penn State has a very good football team. Now, they've scored over 30 points in every game this year, except when they played the Buckeyes. You can see that they don't have complete confidence in this young quarterback, Drew Aller, to push the football down the field. I think he has all the skill sets to be a great one. But just like with any young quarterback, you're trying to give yourself the best chance to win the football game without him being the reason that you lost, right? You want to be the difference, not the reason. And, that defense is where everything starts and stops for them. I don't know if they're going to get Chop Robinson back, that defensive end, this weekend. It sounds like that's at least a possibility. So you'd have to give Michigan the edge at almost every position group. And the last time that Penn State really whipped Michigan, not just won the game, but whipped them good, was when Saquon Barkley was there. Mm-hmm. Ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. Just was the most electrifying college football player that I had really seen at the running back position in quite some time. Well, he's not running around for Penn State, right? So you really got to get in there and do several things. It's a multifaceted strategy if James Franklin and Penn State are going to win. One, it's at home, so that helps. If it were a night game, and I played in 2 night games at Beaver Stadium, I'm telling you right now, it's the coolest atmosphere I've ever seen in college football. Thankfully for Michigan, this is that big noon kickoff game. But you got to figure out a way to stifle the Michigan run, okay? Michigan has blown out their last 4 opponents, but they haven't rushed for over 200 yards. They've leaned more and more on J.J. McCarthy. And, you know, as good as J.J. is, as good as he can play, he's got some gunslinger in him. He can be inaccurate down the field at times. The thing is, can you get a strip sack fumble? The way they did against the Buckeyes, but it was called back because of the holding call on Marvin Harrison Jr. Can you get something like that? Can you maybe get a pick six, a punt return touchdown, shut down the run, and then on the other side, make sure that Drew Aller can make enough plays for you to win without him turning the football over? And look, Penn State's a good football team. They could win.
Yeah, they absolutely could. We're talking college football with David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company. I got to ask you about Ole Miss sitting at 8-1 right now, 3-point win over Texas A&M at home last week, and now the big test down in Athens against Georgia. What do you make of this one on Saturday? I'm hearing rumors, maybe some reports that Brock Bowers is going to at least try to give it a go this weekend. He might be available for Georgia. What do you make of the game that College Game Day will be at this weekend?
I would be surprised if Brock Bowers played, but I guess not shocked, just because it feels like Brock Bowers is made up of something just a little bit different, doesn't it, boys? I mean, when you watch him play football, my goodness, we should all be thankful we get to watch him play the game and do so with such humility, too. I would be a little surprised if he plays. It seems like coming back from this sort of ankle injury is going to take a little bit more time. But on the Ole Miss side of things, well, first of all, with Georgia, they hadn't missed a beat without him, right? Because Ladd McConkey was getting healthy at the exact same time that Brock Bowers is going down. And when I watch Ladd McConkey run routes, boys, I'm just telling you, it is something to behold. And Carson Beck has just overperformed in every metric, every single game where we're like, yeah, but Carson Beck's going to have that moment, right? He's going to have that young quarterback time where he has multiple turnovers and they're in a dogfight late and he costs them the game. Just hasn't happened, right? Like, he's playing his way not only into them three-peating, but like into Heisman conversations, like legitimately, if you really want to break down these numbers. On the Ole Miss side of things, what I've always asked is, you know, Lane Kiffin, this brilliant offensive mind, an offensive guru, are you a serious head football coach? You know, because at Ole Miss, you don't need to be overly serious, but you don't need to win 12 games every year to keep your job at Ole Miss. You need to have really solid teams every now and then. And we've seen Lane Kiffin start really hot at times, but then towards the back half of that season, things fall apart. And, you know, he was under the microscope last Thanksgiving time, when reports are he's going to take the Auburn head coaching job. And regardless of whatever truth there was to that, it looked like, from an outsider's perspective, that was a distraction as they were heading into the Egg Bowl. Mississippi State won. And you're looking like, okay, is Lane Kiffin a serious head football coach? And then I watch the way this team plays, and I think, man, I don't see them folding in like the way they did last season or the last couple of seasons. Like, this is a team that can win 10 games, that can finish strong. Does that mean they can go on the road and beat Kirby Smart, who hasn't lost a game since, December SEC championship 2 years ago? I mean, we were in the College Football Hall of Fame with our show the last time Georgia's lost a game. I don't know if it means that, but I think that Ole Miss can actually play Georgia closer than even a Missouri did, or certainly than Kentucky. I mean, you know, but we say this every week, and Georgia seems to come out and just blow people out. I was disappointed with the way Ole Miss played in the trenches, even against Tulane, when I went back and watched some of that game. And then certainly the offensive play calling I didn't really understand in the 24-10 outcome at Alabama. But I do think that they are capable of going in and playing a competitive football game against Georgia. And with a team of this quality, all you want is a chance to win late in the game. If Lane Kiffin gets that opportunity, I'm telling you, he could dial up something that could win the football game. I like this Ole Miss team, and it should be a heck of a game.
David, let's fast forward to next Tuesday night in the CFP reveal. And Ole Miss has defeated Georgia. And this is if Ole Miss gets the win, should Ole Miss, just on that win, however it falls out, whether it's 7 and Georgia's 8, should they be ahead of Georgia next Tuesday night?
Oh, yes. You have to put them ahead with the head-to-head. I thought you were going to ask me, should they be ahead of Alabama?
Nope, because Bama's beaten.
The answer would have to be no.
Right.
Again,
and Texas is ahead of Bama.
You play this experiment out far enough, just like you're saying right there. Well, okay, Texas beat Alabama, and Alabama beat Ole Miss, and now Ole Miss has beat Georgia. Like, how are you going to make this puzzle piece work? At some point, it becomes impossible mathematically, right? I mean, we have to add so much subjectivity into this that, frankly, I don't mind. I actually find it fun. I enjoy these conversations, whereas, the NFL model is a little bit boring. It's like, hey, just win your division.
But I want to yield the head-to-head on the field.
Yeah, but the more, while I find it fun to have these conversations, the more objectivity we can add in, the better it's going to be, because at some point we have all these different criteria working against each other that you're just never going to be able to make everything fit. But the biggest piece of criteria, which the committee over the years has proven to adhere to, not necessarily so much in their first couple of rankings these past 2 weeks, is that head-to-head. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I mean, look, if I think it would matter a little bit the way that Ole Miss won, but let's just say by 1 point on the last possession of the game, like we've already seen Oregon lose on the last possession of a game at their rival on the road. We saw Texas, their only loss is to their rival on the last possession in the Red River Shootout. Like, the loss carries a lot of weight, and you'd have to put Ole Miss up there. I mean, that would be a heck of a win with their only loss being on the road in Tuscaloosa.
David, what have you made of USC this season? Another loss against Washington. They fire their defensive coordinator. Caleb Williams is visibly upset, frustrated at how the season has gone. What have you made of this year? I mean, when there was so much high hopes, really the last 2 seasons for this team, and it seems like we're back in the same spot we were last year with this team.
Well, Lincoln Riley is a very good football coach. You want to talk about offensive minds. He's another one, and he's a great head coach. I mean, this is a guy who's won double-digit wins. I mean, almost every year he's been a head coach for those years at Oklahoma, and even his first year coming into USC. I didn't have them playing in the Pac-12 championship game this year. I didn't have that. Well, at least trying to remember back on my predictions, I had Washington winning that conference. I just didn't think that USC was going to be able to play defense well enough to hold up in that conference to make the college football playoff. Having said that, I didn't think it'd be this bad, because that was the narrative all offseason was, oh, well, their defense was so bad last year and they were hanging on by a thread with winning the turnover margin at such a high point. But what I was thinking is, I played against USC. Rose Bowl against Brian Cushion and some of those guys. I'm telling you, USC is a place that can recruit some of the best defensive talent in this country. Yeah. And I just thought after a year of being there that even if the defense isn't better and they can't make the college football playoff, that it wasn't going to be any worse. And when you have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner coming back, he's going to keep you in every game. Well, that certainly hasn't been the case. Like, the defense was just atrocious. They move on from Alex Grinch, which I think, it was inevitable, but really too late, right? The move was made too late. Yeah, and so they are not going to make the college football playoff, obviously, or I don't think the conference championship. But, I'm interested to see how does Caleb Williams respond to that now, because it already looks like throughout the season that he's been distracted with things. I don't know how much is coming from him and how much is coming from his family and his camp with these things like, oh, whichever NFL team drafts me, I want an equity stake in ownership, or I'm only going to go to XYZ team, right? That we used to see John Elway and Eli Manning do, and all that kind of stuff. Again, I don't know how much of that is actually him doing that in the middle of the season, or if these are just media reports that are coming out. But either way, it's not a good look, right? It looks like you're distracted. It looks like you're not focused, and I want to see how he responds and how he finishes this season. I mean, is he going to hold his head up, and is he going to compete, or is he going to pack it in?
Yeah, no, that's definitely something to keep an eye on, because like you said, they're certainly not going to the conference championship. They're certainly not going to the college football playoffs. But it should be another great week of college football. And as always, David, thanks so much for joining us. Really enjoy this segment every week, and we'll do it again next week.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thank you, David. David Cohn with Crane and Company. He's co-host with Jake Crane on that great show, and he's with us every Wednesday. Every Monday afternoon at 4:30, we have our look back at the SEC weekend. It's brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, the Memphis Tigers, and that new location opening really soon at 4542 Poplar. Bill Jones and his great team and staff, they're here to stay. Some blow in overnight, then gone. Not Sissy's Log Cabin. They're part of the fabric of the community, and that's what they want to be. They very, very desperately want to be part of that. They're here for the long haul, just like they've been with great locations across Arkansas and Tennessee since 1970. And tonight, when you go to the Grizzlies game, official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge, the Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, earrings, necklaces, 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and much, much more. Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it's Wednesday, so we got to take a look at some of these lines in college football and the NFL for this weekend. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer, the Chevy Sheriff for Sunrise Chevy. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has over 500 new vehicles available with interest low as 0% and rebates up to $4,000. A $10 million used car inventory specializing in late model GM certified and cars and trucks under $10,000. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay. Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com or call us on the phone. Come in and see us, go online or call. Any way you do it, we'll save you money at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, partner, 385 South Houston Levy in Collierville.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend at Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Shell Done gets it done.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Traffic's really building out of Midtown I-40 over here at Chelsea. 55 still wants to get a little bit heavy southbound across the bridge coming over from West Memphis. We see it really starting to pick up with more volume on 240, either getting onto 385 Billmore Parkway or continuing on 240 East up by Poplar. Hey, get rid of that old junk car right now by calling Memphis for junk cars. It's an easy number, 901 area code, of course, 258-8999. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and we got to take a look at some of these lines, early week lines for both college football and the NFL. Brett, where would you like to start?
Right there, that game we finished with visiting with David Cohn about in Happy Valley, 11 o'clock. And I do think that is advantage, somewhat of advantage to Michigan instead of the whiteout at night. Big noon, they come out with the big guns at 11 o'clock Central Time Zone game, and the SEC is going to have to match that next year in with their TV partner, ABC and ESPN. 4.5 Michigan over Penn State on the road.
Yeah, and I mean, David Cohn mentioned it a little while ago about how, Beaver Stadium's a different animal at night than it is during the day. So maybe you're right, a slight advantage to Michigan in that regard. But you're absolutely right. I mean, 3 versus 10 at 11 a.m. in the morning on Fox.
Quarterback mismatch.
It really is. But, I mean, this game, being 2 top 10 teams is exactly what Big Noon wants on any given Saturday. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the SEC is going to have to find ways to match that next year. But you're right. Quarterback mismatch in this game. Maybe team mismatch in this game. I think you go down the roster in a lot of spots.
It is.
Go mismatch in this one. Now, I think Drew Ehlers is a good quarterback, but I do think it is a mismatch. I think running back with Blake Corum, you've got a mismatch there in favor of Michigan.
Backs.
Yeah, a couple. And I think you can go down the roster in terms of mismatches in this game. So 4.5-point favorite on the road is you don't see that very often in a top 10 matchup. But
other than at home, I don't see an advantage here for Penn State.
I really don't see many. And so hopefully this is a good game. I mean, I think, defensively, I think Penn State brings a lot, so maybe they can limit Michigan a little bit. But, I really like Michigan this weekend.
11 Central, noon in Kentucky, big noon in Kentucky.
There you
go. Alabama, 10.5-point favorite over the Cats at Kroger Field. I do like the style matchup.
Yeah, I do too. But I mean, and I understand the whole everyone got down on Alabama for I don't think really great reasons early in the season. I get them
because that high bar,
of course. But man, 10.5-point favorite on the road.
I agree, and
that's huge.
If Kentucky just went on 2 or 3 long drives. 2 or 3 6-minute drives and just really narrow the game, I think that would probably be a dream scenario for them. Tulane, a 23-point favorite at home at Ullman against Tulsa. That's at 11 o'clock Central Time. Colorado, now 4-5, They're at home, but they are a 10.5-point underdog. 1 o'clock Central game against Arizona. Arizona's with every passing week and win, they're in a much better bowl position.
I mean, Brett,
Jed Fish, keep an eye out for him.
Absolutely. But you look at these last 5 weeks for Arizona. A loss against 7th-ranked Washington, a 2-point loss at 9th-ranked at the time USC, a 44-6 win at the time 19th-ranked Washington State, home win 3-point win against number 11th-ranked Oregon State, a win at home 27-10 win against 19th-ranked UCLA. I mean, they have been playing really, really good teams, and it now shows in their rankings with these last 3 wins against ranked teams getting in there at 21, but, a big road favorite for Arizona against Colorado.
They win that one 7-3. Then the next 2, one at home against Utah in their state championship game against Arizona State in the year that they just match up better against Arizona State. Mm-hmm. Even with a loss to Utah, this can be a really good year for Arizona. 8-4 is there to be done. Maybe even 9-3.
Yeah.
And I go back to Mississippi State beat them, and everybody wanting to crush the down. Poor old SEC.
Yeah, and you're right, beat them, and now look at this Arizona team and keep a really close eye. Depending on what Arizona does this week, depending on what Utah does this week, I'm not sure who Utah has this week. A big game at Washington this week. Depending on what happens in both those games, could be a game day.
And whether it's Texas beating Bama in September, or Ole Miss beating Tulane without Michael Pratt in September, or Mississippi State beating Arizona in September. I don't want to hear where they wouldn't do it now.
No.
They did it in the 2023 season. You don't have a rematch on the fly. Mm-hmm. Let's don't do this.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they played. State won.
Exactly. And we could go back into the record books and look at a lot of games and say, well, this should have happened. They would have beaten them here. They would have beaten them there. I hate when people do that.
I cannot stand it. Baylor at Kansas State. Kansas State 20.5-point favorite. Florida State at home against the U, 14-point favorite for FSU over the U. You mentioned Utah this week in Seattle against Washington. Huskies 9.5-point favorite.
Almost double-digit favorite.
Over Utah. In Utah, I think they maxed out.
I think they did too.
This year.
I think they did. And obviously with Cam Rising.
This is still a great coaching job. They just had a lot of adversity.
I mean, Brett, when you think you're going to have Cam Rising back, who, is an unbelievable quarterback, and then now he's out for the year, which really interesting saga there all around. But yeah, that hurts you real bad. For them to be 7-2 right now is massive.
Tennessee, a 1-point favorite at Columbia. Central Florida at home against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, a 2.5-point favorite over UCF. Iowa, 1.5 over Rutgers. We sure 2 points will be scored.
Brett, you didn't even mention the total in that game. 28.5 is a total in a college football game.
Not a 7th grade game.
No, a college football game, a Big Ten college football game, I should say. 28.5. It's unbelievable. I take the under.
Oregon State 21 over Stanford. Georgia 10.5 over Ole Miss. We've talked a lot about that game. OU 13 at home over West Virginia. Ohio State 31.5 at home over Michigan State. Texas a 10-point favorite in Fort Worth against TCU. Anything there?
I don't know.
Keep a close eye on that game.
Keep a close eye for sure.
Florida in Baton Rouge, LSU a 13.5-point favorite. North Carolina and Duke, not the battle on the hardwoods, but on the football field.
Throw the records out, bro.
Not at Cameron Indoor or the Dean Dome. 14.5 North Carolina over Duke, and Oregon late Saturday night. That's going to be the one that I'm really going to regret Sunday afternoon when I'm at about Winfield, Alabama, driving home that I stayed up and watched the end of Oregon 15-point favorite over USC.
But hey, if it's a down to the wire close game, you're going to be loving that you stayed up for it, Brett.
Memphis Tigers on Saturday in Charlotte. They're an 8.5-point favorite over Charlotte. I'm not real big on this, but it's there. You want to compare 2 scores this year in college football?
Please.
Charlotte lost at Florida to the Gators 22-7.
Covered the spread.
15 points, right?
Yep.
Tennessee lost at the Swamp by 13 points.
And they were only a couple weeks apart, I think.
That's
maybe
right.
a week apart. That's interesting. But Charlotte, what has happened with this team? I mean, it has been a dramatic season, to say the least, for Biff Poggi in his first year. But that should be a fun game. I know we're going to get to it in Friday Football Forecast, but I'm leaning Tigers early. Let's get over, Brett, to some of these NFL games. Start tomorrow night. Bears at home against the Panthers. Chicago, a 3.5 point pay. I
don't know how to watch.
Prime Video. You're gonna have to
will listen here.
I'm going to make you listen. Chicago, a 3.5 point favorite against a really struggling Panthers team. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought the Panthers would struggle this bad this season.
I sure didn't. And, the thread the needle to win that division and not even come close. No. And not even closer to that than Bryce Young being Rookie of the Year.
No, not at all.
Rookie of the Year's over.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year's over, unfortunately. We start Sunday, an early morning again Sunday. Colts, Patriots. Colts, a 1.5 point favorite on the road. I've heard some people saying, Bill Belichick, you better watch your back. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to lose his job, but certainly
right now, 7-1 to be fired.
Are you serious?
Bill Belichick.
7-1,
which I think is preposterous.
That is crazy.
They might have the meeting of we want to make a change, but just to purely have to fire him, I can't imagine.
He will not be fired. He might resign.
We're not talking about Billy Martin here. This is Bill Belichick.
No, we might get the announcement.
This ain't Barry Switzer coaching the Cowboys.
We might get the tweet from the Patriots saying, "Thank you, Bill Belichick. He's decided to retire,
and here's your retirement check."
And really, we hear a month or so later, yeah, it was either we're firing you or you can walk away on your own. But there's no way
to humiliate him.
No chance. No chance. What he has done for that franchise, please. 12 o'clock, I think a very interesting game on CBS. Texans-Bengals. Bengals a 7-point favorite.
C.J. Stroud versus Joe Burrow.
Stroud has done this year. That'll be a fun quarterback matchup at noon. Some other noon games, we've got Saints-Vikings. New Orleans, a 2.5 point favorite. Packers-Steelers. Steelers a 3.5 point favorite.
How are either the Vikings or the Saints 5-4?
That's a great question.
Combined 10 wins. Just eye test, and this is how mistakes are made with eye test. Combined, they shouldn't have 3 wins.
Brett, you could say the same thing about the Steelers. How in the world are the Steelers 5-3? I mean, it's all the same, but certainly with the Saints and the Vikings, and really Vikings had to pull. I mean, everybody had to be moving in the right direction last week to win that game. Titans, Buccaneers, Tampa Bay, a 1-point favorite now. I guess Will Levis, his first game as officially the starting quarterback, no questions about it. So that'll be interesting. 1-point favorite, or a 1-point dog, the Titans are at noon. 49ers, Jaguars, San Francisco, a 3-point favorite. Some other games to keep an eye on Sunday. Seahawks and Commanders. Seahawks, a 6.5 point favorite at 3:30. Jets and Raiders. Jets right now, a half point favorite. You don't see that very often in the NFL.
Wait a second. A half-point favorite? I've never seen it.
I was about to say, this is what I'm seeing right now. I'm sure most sports books have it as a pick'em, but
isn't that what that means?
Yes, but what I'm looking at lists it
Brett,
as
are they calling a tie?
Brett, I don't look. Maybe
you got a W catching the plus half point.
Maybe this site just doesn't list PKs. I'm almost certain I've seen PKs on this site. So I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea.
I've never seen that.
I haven't either. I've seen it in. I've seen it in.
I'm trying to find picks anywhere else. A pick'em game.
I'm sure. Let's see. Let me browse to a different sports book and see if they have it. I'm sure they have it as a pick'em. That's ridiculous. That's honestly the only reason I brought it up is because I saw it. Is it half a point or is it pick'em?
It's 0.5.
That's hilarious.
That's half.
That's hilarious. I love that.
That's
great. I don't even see it on this sports book.
That's a stunner. We are getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving, and really, just about 2 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be gathering. You'll have family coming in 2 weeks from tonight, maybe even earlier in the week. Get on the list. Check it twice for Thanksgiving holidays and for Christmas holidays at the commissary, 901-754-5540. Call now, go online now at commissarybbq.com and put your order in, and you'll be so glad. And a lot of the traditional food preparing people, they'll be glad you did it. Take a lot of work, a lot of stress off of them. Let the commissary do it all. The smoked turkey, homemade cornbread dressing, the gravy, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, butter, plates, utensils. They take care of it all for you. Whether you want a turkey or ham, they have it. All the sides, turkey and dressing, turkey and ham and dressing and gravy, they've got it all. They will take care of you, and you will be delighted with this great food from the commissary. And you're going to have all those people rolling in. You're going to need barbecue around, or you're going to want to, when you go to pick it up, you might want to take people over to either the Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Perfect place for a big group that week. Mention all the sports that will be on TV that week. You can watch the Grizzlies game there tonight. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary right now to 33733. That Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, the slow cook way, the Memphis way. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich. All the sides and the desserts like the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, and the strawberry cake. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown. The party areas, orders to go, catering, tailgating, and this time of year, the holiday bird. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, we need to get to a break, but when we come back, we'll get to big number of the day.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday, baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $8.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $10.95. And veggie plate, $9.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I have 2 big numbers today, and both of them are about college basketball players. But my first, I'll stick to a local guy, Jonathan Pierre. Who obviously is a member of the Tiger basketball team. He met with the media. Today I'm really excited. Jason Munns posted a couple of clips of things Jonathan Pierre was saying. I had some quotes from him as well that he just tweeted out. So I'm really excited to talk to Jason Munns on Friday about Jonathan Pierre. But 62 is my big number. That, according to Jonathan Pierre, is how many games he has played in his collegiate career. Now we know before this season, he played at the Division II level at Nova Southeastern, where he won a Division II national championship. In 62 games, Jonathan Pierre says that he is 61-1. So he was happy. He said he was happy, obviously, to play in his first Division I game and to play in an NBA arena, but also to take his record to 61-1. Something else I thought was interesting that Jonathan Pierre said earlier today. He said as a senior in high school, because they were talking about, and Dave said this the other day, about he's a really good passer. He's led the team last year at Nova Southeastern in assists. He says it's because he played point guard in high school. You think he's very tall. How did he play point guard in high school? Well, his senior year in high school, he had a growth spurt that took him from 6'2" to 6'7". While he was at
that's what Anthony Davis did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. While he was at Nova Southeastern, he grew from 6'7" to 6'9". He said since joining the team since the start of summer. He has grown an inch. He said he was listed 6'9" last year at Nova Southeastern. He's listed at 6'10" this year for the Memphis Tigers. So a guy who is growing. He says he's 6'10" right now. He says that's a true 6'10" with his shoes off. So Jonathan Pierre, a very interesting guy.
And these stories are fun to start learning.
They are.
And this team, it's got that look. This is a big, long team.
Absolutely.
I've got a couple of different numbers. The first is 4. Tennessee moved up 4 spots last night in the CFP off that big win over UConn.
How about that?
And you get a 4-point jump. So big number is 4. But my other big number, it's 23, as in being down 23-0 at halftime back on September 16th. This year, in a year that we have not had many college football shocking upsets, nothing bigger than on September 16th, down 23-0 at halftime. They go on to lose that night 33-7. Oklahoma State over South Alabama.
Yeah.
You talking about people that would want to redo, but we don't get to do that.
No.
That game's going to forever stand.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It will, and so no, that's a really good big number. Both of those are good big numbers. I've got one more big number from college basketball, and it comes from that great Auburn-Baylor game last night. Brett, were you able to catch any of that game last night? Oh,
coaching heavyweights.
An unbelievable game. I
like that setting, too.
A really good setting. But I was telling John Harden earlier today during his show, I said, one thing that I think gets overused a lot in sports media.
Scott Drew was almost the Tiger coach?
No. I could hear that all day. But one thing that I do think is overused is people coming in, and when a team is leading in the second half or in the fourth quarter, they'll come in or they'll go on TV and they'll say, well, X team lost that game. Last night, Auburn did not lose that game. Baylor won that game.
Sensational point.
It was an unbelievable game from both teams. I thought both teams looked really good. But my next big number.
Sometimes the other fellow's better.
Absolutely. And I feel like sometimes we forget about that, just kind of thinking about how did that team lose. But my other big number is 28. That's how many points Jacoby Walter, the freshman for Baylor, had last night. Just a sensational game from him. That is the school record for points in a freshman debut. He was 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Just an unbelievable game from the freshman Jacoby Walter. But I think both those teams are teams to look out for this season.
We were talking earlier about Madison Square Garden debuts, and Wilt Chamberlain did his not at this current location. At this current location, the record is 40 in a debut there.
Interesting.
Held by Pistol Pete and one more. Pistol Pete got 40. Elvin Hayes got 39. Pistol Pete in 1970 and Jay Vincent in 1982.
Okay. All right. I like it. See what Victor can do tonight. Maybe he can get close to that.
Pistol Pete had good knees.
Oh, man.
They were shot when he got to the pros.
Yeah, but still a great career for him.
Really did.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. Both my big numbers were college basketball centric, and we're going to talk a lot of college basketball on the other side. Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated, he joins us next.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Genesis Diamond's first ever 3-day store-wide sale is this weekend. 3 days of mind-blowing savings, up to 35% off. Earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, plus thousands of engagement rings, all on sale. Designer jewelry has been flown in from New York and California for this. Certified diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Don't miss the biggest and best store-wide event all year. Save 20, 30, even 35%. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamond. Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
When building the 2023 RDX, we decided to raise our standards. That means a 272 horsepower VTEC turbo engine, standard. Acura Watch advanced safety and driver assistance technology. Yep, standard. Alexa built in, also standard. The 2023 RDX. Raise your standards. Acura. Precision crafted performance.
Visit Acura of Memphis to learn more about the Acura RDX.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Grind don't stop. Join Jaron Dez and your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 7 p.m. when they host the Miami Heat for State of Tennessee HBCU Day presented by Pinnacle Financial Partners. Secure your tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP or visiting Grizzlies.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's just that time of day for it to get really heavy on 55 right now, north and southbound between McLemore South Parkway. Pretty crowded over here on 240 East, either getting onto 385 Bill Morris Parkway and continuing out to Collierville or continuing on 240 up by Poplar. Wrapping up the paperwork on a wreck that happened earlier out there on Ossipee Highway at 385. Hey, get rid of that old junk car right now by calling Memphis for Junk Cars. That number's 901 area code 258-8999. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios. And joining us now from Sports Illustrated, you can follow him on Twitter at CBB_Central. Kevin Sweeney joins us now to talk college basketball, and he is up in Chicago at these two games for the Barstool Classic. I don't know exactly what they're calling it, but a good night of basketball nonetheless. 10th-ranked Florida Atlantic versus Loyola Chicago gets us started. Later in the night, Arizona State versus Mississippi State. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. This first one I'm really intrigued by with Florida Atlantic. What do they look like a season after that Final Four run? What do you make of this team, though, going into the season? I've heard a lot of people, some are very high on this Florida Atlantic team. Some people think maybe it was just a Cinderella story and it'll be hard to repeat this year. What do you make of this Florida Atlantic team?
I think there's enough evidence from last regular season that this team was really good even before March, right? Like, obviously they got some breaks to get through to the Final Four. You need that if you're going to make a run in the NCAA tournament. But FAU had proven that they could play at a high level. So I expect they'll be good. Can they be great, which is the standard now? I'm not sure. I think that's the thing we learned starting tonight. I will say this. I've talked to a lot of people who are around that Loyola 2018 Final Four team. It's interesting that these teams match up given the kind of similar history.
Yeah.
And they just speak about the pressure that they felt the next year. And they didn't even realize it as they were going through it. But as they look back, just the amount that they had to carry every night of, like, if you don't make a Final Four, you're a failure, right? I mean, no team goes into that. That's Duke, Kentucky level status, and you're at a mid-major. I mean, it's just so tricky. So I think that's the thing to watch. How do they handle adversity? Loyola, I think, will be much improved. They should push FAU tonight, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond.
You know, Kevin, I don't know that I saw a quote from Dusty May around the passing of legendary Coach Bobby Knight. Wasn't he a student manager at IU for Coach Knight?
Yeah, he was an Indiana manager. I don't know exactly the timing. I'd have to look if he was a Knight manager, but certainly Knight influenced if he were an Indiana manager around that period of time. So his first game will be interesting to see if he honors him in any way.
It will be. A red sweater would be a good touch. I guess you could work in red in the FAU color scheme, couldn't you?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could. That's going to be fun tonight. The second game, boy, third day of college basketball. I don't want to get too big into firing coaches. Is this a big year for Bobby Hurley?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I think last year was a big year for Bobby Hurley.
It does seem like
the
that.
NCAA tournament. Yeah. And it doesn't provide much reprieve. I mean, quite frankly, I think there were people close to Bobby Hurley who thought Bobby Hurley was not going to make it last year, even after he made the NCAA tournament. And it wasn't until he won in that first 4 game that he truly sealed that he was coming back for another year. So, yeah, I mean, you want to build on it. And I think they had so many defections this offseason, lost a ton to the portal, had a few big graduations as well. Very interesting to see how they come out early and if they can look competitive. I don't know that they need to make the NCAA tournament for Bobby to keep his job, but certainly want to stay out of the cellar in the Pac-12.
I think the biggest reason Arizona State basketball has been a really tough job for a lot of really good coaches is because of U of A, because of Arizona. But Bobby Hurley's really joining that list. Herb Sendek, Rob Evans, a good man, a really good coach. Bill Frieder, way back in the in the 80s, when everybody was trying to be little UCLA. Steve Patterson. Nobody has really ever been able to get it done at Arizona State.
It's funny. I think everyone kind of gets stale at ASU, where you look up and say, it could be better here. Let's roll the dice and go out and get another. And for the most part, like, it's been consistently this level, which is like you're a bubble team in your good years, you're not in your bad years. And I think there's more potential there than's been tapped into, but I don't know if all that's the coaching. Their facility's really dated. I know they're still catching up on the NIL front. Obviously, it's a newer thing, but it speaks to kind of institutional commitment and things like that. So, the Big 12 move will be interesting for them. It'll be interesting to see if that job does open, how interested people are in that job going into the toughest league in college basketball. I certainly think, living in Phoenix and the access to talent, the culture of the school is a place where people know you can go have fun, you can go party. Like, I think there's real potential here. It takes some investment top down and some institutional alignment, but it's a place I think can be better than it's been, and I'm interested to see if Bobby can right the ship, and if not, how quickly ASU looks to move and find a replacement.
And the pro influence in that market's hurt. Even Tempe, a little bit insulated from downtown Phoenix and even Scottsdale, but they've got it all out there now. I know there's not really a real newspaper anymore, but it's hard for Arizona State to get on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the constant battle in pro markets, and Chicago's one of them. We talked about it with Northwestern and DePaul. It's a tough loss, right? Like, it's great to be close to a big city and all the resources that come with that. It's also hard to break through the noise in a big city, especially when you're struggling. And that's, I think, something ASU has run into over the years.
Kevin, I know extremely early to ask this question, but after a couple of days into the season, who impressed you in their first game, and maybe who were you shocked looking at maybe a box score watching a game of how they performed?
I mean, the Big Ten duo of Michigan State and Indiana, two kind of disappointing results. Indiana, some of the concerns of the preseason about spacing offensively were proven to be a real thing in opening night. And obviously it's early. They've got young players, but they're still very much learning how to play with one another. And I think they're going to have to play smaller like they did down the stretch against Florida Gulf Coast to find a way to win. And then obviously the Michigan State loss to James Madison was a surprise. I think if you were following close enough, you knew James Madison is really good, a really good mid-major team, one of those really good 12 or 13 seeds come next March. And we'll see how that loss ends up aging for Michigan State. But for a team you expect to be a top 5 team that you were hoping would make a jump, it just didn't feel like they did. Interesting to see how Izzo maneuvers with his rotation, navigating some of these younger guys, trying to get them more minutes with the struggles that the vets showed on night one. Obviously, it's early. I thought both Baylor and Auburn were really impressive last night. I know it's a loss for one and a win for the other, but you watch those two teams, you say, all right, those are teams that can win in March with their length, their athleticism, their shot-making ability, and their freshman talent with Jacoby Walter at Baylor, and then Aiden Holloway at Auburn, who had a really big night as well.
Bruce Pearl would take that rematch in an Elite 8 game right now, wouldn't he?
I think we all would. I mean, that was awesome.
It was. We've had Friday night, November 10th, circled around here for a while. Memphis Tigers in Columbia against the Missouri Tigers, but also this schedule Friday night. Arizona at Duke, even Central Florida at Miami, Texas A&M at Ohio State. You go all the way through Friday night, Tennessee at Wisconsin. Really fun stuff coming up on Friday. San Diego State against BYU will be good.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, there's been so much kind of fatalism about the opening schedule for college basketball, and I think we all agree it'd be nice to have more high-profile games on night one, but night 4 in Chicago has a chance to be pretty entertaining. Really thought the country's going to be pretty entertaining. You look around at that Duke-Arizona game, I think has a chance to be really, really good. I think Arizona is going to be better than people realize, and playing that game on a college campus at Duke is really great instead of a neutral court. Virginia, Florida is one I have my eye on, and then that Tennessee-Wisconsin game. Wisconsin was very impressive opening night. Tennessee was obviously great against Michigan State and blew out their opener, obviously, and a bye game in Tennessee Tech. But I think certainly that's a game that I think we'll look back and say, it's okay, it's one ranked team versus Wisconsin. I think by the end of the year we could be talking about both those teams as like top 15 type clubs. So that'll be a fun one in Madison.
Kevin, last night Michigan with a big 99-74 win over UNC Asheville. This is a team Memphis will play later on in the first round of the battle for Atlantis. What do you make of this Michigan team coming into the season? Because I think, at least for me and some other people I've talked to, a lot of questions around what this Michigan team would look like post Hunter Dickinson. What do you make of this team this year?
Yeah, they're a good example of a team that just, I think, so much was negative vibes-wise in the offseason with the Dickinson departure, the Bufkin and Jet Howard draft decisions, and then Caleb Love committing and then bouncing because of admissions. It just felt so bad. But when you actually sat down and you looked up and really analyzed their roster, they're in pretty good shape. Like if Doug McDaniel takes the leap people think he can, if Terrace Reed at the 5 takes the leap, if Olivier Kamala from Tennessee is able to step into the role that they hope he will, they're going to be pretty darn good. They looked it against Asheville. Now, Asheville, I will say that's a good mid-major team. They've obviously had a lot of success, but they have gotten blown out in high-major games pretty repeatedly over the last couple of years. So I don't want to make too many sweeping, Michigan's back, they're going to the second weekend, whatever. But certainly an encouraging sign to see how well that they played, how cohesive they looked, which was something that they didn't do well last year, obviously, and then how good McDaniel at point guard appeared to be. I mean, obviously it's early for him, but he has a chance to be one of the better guards in the country if he plays like he did yesterday.
For someone that covers it so well, lives it, breathes it, eats it, just around it all the time, give us yours, because we've had that moment. We've chuckled about it. Who's been the player that you've seen go, oh yeah, he's there, and even the coach? Here was mine the other night, and I don't know why I thought this, but I'm watching UCF. I went, oh yeah, Johnny Dawkins has made it there. He's still there.
And Folly Dante was for me at Oregon the other day. Wow.
Yeah, there's a few guys that are just like, you look up, they're still kicking around. I mean, I knew Janai Broom was still at Auburn. He played well at the combine, but I looked and I realized, all right, he has 2 years of eligibility left if he wants it, and I was like, how are these guys have this much eligibility? And even tonight at Loyola, Braden Norris was on
Boogie Ellis is the eligibility guy for us.
Yeah. Boogie Ellis for sure. DJ Jeffries is playing tonight for Mississippi State. Like, eligibility is going off the rails here. And see if it is wild. See if these 5th and 6th year guys.
Brian, wasn't DJ Jeffries a senior at Olive Branch like in 2010?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's been playing college basketball forever. That's gonna be one for me. I'm glad you said it, Kevin, so I don't turn that game on later tonight and go, DJ Jeffries still playing college basketball?
Well, it was the early, like, second or third day of 2020 when DJ Jeffries was a game time scratch against Georgia with Anthony Edwards here at FedEx Forum, Kevin.
Yeah, every so often you look up and you say that, you're like, all right, the guys in the same high school class as this guy are now on their second NBA contract and they're still in college basketball. Might be time to get a job. Yeah.
Kevin, I don't mind. Do you? I know some, it flies all over them. And I've heard from every person around my age this year around college football of, I can't take this anymore. I don't know who's on. I said, don't let it bother you. You should be pulling for brands anyway.
It doesn't bother me. I'm living it every day. I think it's funny that the people who complain the most about not knowing it are like message board fans who also should be kind of in it every day for their team. But I understand it, right? You want to build an attachment to guys over 3 and 4 years. But to me, like, I also enjoy the chance to rebuild quickly, right? Like, it's fun to be in a down year and look up and be like, all right, like, we can fix this with 1 or 2 pieces in the spring and turn it around and not be waiting for freshmen 2-3 years down the line. Everything is instant gratification these days, and I think this certainly qualifies. But obviously, it is an adjustment for sure. But I personally enjoy tracking the player movement. I enjoy having something to think about with the sport in the off season. Yet it's not for everyone, but I certainly think it's been at least entertaining for the sport.
Well, we were talking about Boogie Ellis a second ago, of just still playing college basketball. Seems like he's been playing forever. But now kind of the leader of this USC team in that first game against Kansas State, he finished with 24, Isaiah Collier with 18. I know a lot of people are talking a lot about Bronny James, especially after LeBron said he's going to get looked at again at the end of this month, and we'll go from there. But when you look at this USC team, with what they have, how good can they be?
I mean, the backcourt's outstanding. And, when you're looking for teams that can make noise in the NCAA tournament, that is certainly what you're looking for. And with Collier, I think he will be one of the best guards in the country. Ellis, yes, he's taken his criticism, particularly at Memphis early in his career, but it's turned into a really good college basketball player, 18-4-3 last year. Kobe Johnston had a great game defensively in particular the other night, and potentially Bronny, who is the big X factor. We'll see if he gets on the floor. I don't necessarily anticipate he'll be super explosive for USC if he does play, but he's another former 4- or 5-star recruit who can make threes, who can defend, who can play multiple positions. And you stack enough of those guys, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
For your viewing in person plans, do you have planned to go to a Big 5 Classic game, and have you ever been to one?
I have not. It is not currently on the docket, but that may change shortly. We're always hunting for them.
That would be
on the bucket list.
That would be a good one. I have said, Kevin, on my college basketball bucket list, just give me a year. Let me have a year inside Philly basketball, and I never go to an NBA game, not one. Just those colleges in that area, November to March.
It would be awesome, and it is truly kind of the heartbeat still of college basketball. Obviously, Indiana, Kentucky, with that, but Philly has this special place. I know there's a guy out there who's doing like a year-long college football tour, just driving the country, going to games. And if I ever pulled a Roger Sherman, I would certainly spend a good amount of time at the Palestra.
Those guys find me every year in Oxford. There's always some that do that, and they always find the Grove, and they come by every year on that dream trip. You get people in summertime doing it at every major league baseball stadium. That's a good deal if you can get it.
Oh, I mean, when we all retire, we can all hit the road together. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're talking college basketball with Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. You can follow him on Twitter at CBB_.
Like I'm going to be around
Central.
when y'all retire.
Well, I mean, that might
y'all
be
can have the cutout of me in the car.
Oh, that's a little morbid there, Brett.
Truth.
Kevin, when you look around college basketball, I remember last year talking about coaches like Dennis Gates, who had a great first season at their new school. But watching some games last night, Chris Jans. But watching some games last night, I mean, you realize how many coaches have changed schools. I mean, Rick Pitino being one of them last night. Ed Cooley, I saw him earlier in the week.
Pitino will still be coaching when y'all on your retirement
trip. You're right about that. Kim English, I was watching him earlier this week. Who is the coach that has switched schools this past offseason that you think has the best year at their new school?
Oof, I don't know the best year, but I think most improved year will be Mark Madsen at Cal. It's done a tremendous job. The Mad Dog, Stanford guy, a Laker legend.
Him in Cal gear, I can't imagine.
It's so strange, but Cal took advantage of Stanford not moving on Jared Haas. Got a really good coach. They added some big-time transfers. They won 3 games last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to win 15. They might win 20. I mean, if they win 20, he should be National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, that'd
but
be huge.
if you win 15 after turning around from 3, you did a pretty darn good job in year 1, and I think Mark Madsen's in a position to do that.
When y'all go on that trip, think about this one. I was in St. Louis when Stanford punched their ticket to the Final Four in '98 with Madsen on the team.
It's been a while.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years. Oh, man. So tonight, like we said, to start this segment, you are in Chicago for these 2 games tonight. Some injury concerns for Florida Atlantic. What do we know about the availability tonight for some of their I think Elijah Martin is the one that's the biggest question mark tonight for Florida Atlantic. What do we know about him? Is he going to give it a go tonight, Kevin?
Yeah, according to Jeff Goodman, Dusty May told him that they're going to let him go, give him a shot. Obviously, I think he's feeling a stress reaction in his foot. So those are finicky. We'll see how much he plays and how effective he is. But obviously so important to their team. Him and John L. Davis are the 2 guys they really rely on to create offense.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, without him, if they're able to score it as effectively. Some of the struggles in their secret scrimmages have been attributed to no mark. So obviously he's an important piece.
That comparison you made of the pressure of being everybody's big game, like Loyola had it in the 18-19 season after going to the Final Four in San Antonio with a great coach, with really one of the one of the smart guys in the industry. FAU's really they really are facing that. That's a good comparison.
I mean, they're dealing with it even more because they didn't lose anybody. I mean, they're top 10 in the preseason poll. I think Loyola was like 22nd. I mean, to put top 10 expectations on a team with probably no future NBA players, probably still mid-major talent mostly across the board, like that's such a weight to carry. And I think they have it. They have what it takes. And everyone you talk to talks about how prepared and how locked in they've been all off season. But I just it's just hard to know how they'll respond to it in a game setting.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch tonight as they start their season against Loyola Chicago. But, Kevin, enjoy these games tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Kevin.
And be safe out there covering and watching college basketball. And he does it so well, and a regular guest of ours every Wednesday at 5 through the Final Four. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. That's right around when Loyola won it all in 63. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots and all the clothing, all the accessories, and a cap for any team in any season, and it's worth the trip to the Collierville Square just to see it so festive for the holiday season. It's like stepping back into a Courier and Ives scene for sure. Western wear work boots, safety toe or soft toe. They got the rubber boots. They have boots for every occasion. At Hewlett & Dunn, there will be a lot of boots out at college football this weekend and enjoying tailgate scenes. They've got you covered, though, from head to toe with every brand imaginable. Dan Post, Anderson Bean, Ariat. Whether it's for men or for women, they have it. Men's and women's clothing, they've got it. Jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duckhead collection you'll find in those Filson jackets. Perfect for this time of year. We've been lucky these last few days, but it's going to get jacket weather again, and it will be prolonged. Charles and Laura Hall, they invite you to 111 North Center Street. But go by and visit them, or you can go to HewlettDunn.com. But visit them on the square in Collierville and walk in and say happy holidays to them. Hats, sunglasses, boot care products, and every area team snapback you can think of, like for the Tigers. If you headed up to Columbia, Missouri, you need a Tiger hat. If you headed to Charlotte, you needed a Tiger hat. Mississippi State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and the Razorbacks. If you're traveling, the travel bag selection, top notch at Hewlett Dunn. Go to HewlettDunn.com, but stop by, visit, say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville at Hewlett and Dunn.
It was, Brett, something last night when I turned it on to watch Georgetown basketball and saw Ed Cooley on the sidelines for Georgetown.
That's a good one.
I was a little shocked, but I love Kevin's pick of Mark Madsen. I mean,
that's real good.
They had a great offseason getting guys from the portal.
Here's a player that I would have lost a significant sum of money betting on that no way he would be back.
DJ Jeffries, because I was shocked about that.
At Arkansas.
Okay.
Joe Pinion. I thought somebody would get him smaller level, 3-point guy.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good call, and but no, he's still there, and this Arkansas team looks like it's going to be a really good team. We talked earlier when we were talking Tigers of future opponents in that battle for Atlantis. That hopefully we get that matchup of Memphis versus Arkansas, because I mean that's going to be a heavyweight battle. That's going to be awesome to watch.
We want that, and something like that could spark an idea of, we need to do this home and home.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if you can get a game that's really back and forth, a really good game, both coaches giving it all, I mean, that could really be, and both fan bases really responsive to it.
And not that either are looking, to save money in men's basketball budgets.
No.
But you could play that game and you can get on a bus and save a lot of money.
Sure, absolutely, you could. So it'll be fun. Hopefully we get that matchup. But it's been, I think, a really fun first 2 days of college basketball.
I know he's not, but Penny Hardaway, if he heard that, we're not riding no bus to Fayetteville.
No, we are not. No. But if you had to, you could. But no, it's been a really fun first 2 days, and I think the rest of the week, you mentioned that slate on Friday, it looks unbelievable.
And I want college basketball defenders to get out there and tout this. It's off to a good start, and college basketball is in a good place.
Absolutely. It really is. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Your brain is an amazing thing. But as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, serving the official barbecue of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. The police are on the scene of a couple of non-injury crashes. Still crowded over here on 240 East, either getting onto 385 or continuing on 240 East up by Poplar. It's crowded now on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. It's been crowded today, a little more so than usual on 55 north and southbound between Macklemore and South Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry's getting ready for the holiday season. Go by and see them at 7525 Highway 64. That's Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And we've got about 30 minutes left in today's show. And Brett, we've been talking a lot of college football, a lot of basketball today, but I did see earlier today some NFL news that I wanted to bring up. We talked a lot of NFL yesterday with Bo Marchant and what we were certain of over the weekend. But I did see, we talked a little Tyson Bagent yesterday for the Bears, and we both kind of said that it sounded like he was not going to start this weekend for the Bears. Watching that game for the Bears over the weekend, it sounded like Justin Fields was going to be back and healthy, just needed maybe another week of practice. Well, I saw earlier today Justin Fields listed as doubtful tomorrow night in that Thursday night football game against the Panthers. So it'll be another game of Tyson Bagent against this Panthers team. I know a lot of people already upset with some of these primetime games this week in the NFL. You've got Bears and Panthers in there, and I think the other two games are not very good either, Sunday night and Monday night. We'll see Tyson Bagent again, and I'm curious for Justin Fields, was this just he's not ready yet, or was there maybe something that happened this week at practice that maybe retweaked that thumb?
Or just the Bears saying, let's see a little more of Bagent if to move on or do something in the draft, because we think it's going to be a quarterback-heavy draft. Yeah. And I think if you're not sold on your future at quarterback, and I mean really sold, you got to be rock solid sure. You got to try to be getting a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the Bears are right there. I've heard a lot of other people talking about, for the Bears, a very real possibility that they're making a change at head coach in the offseason.
A lot of changes coming.
Yeah, a lot of changes. And so
out to Arlington Heights.
That's a good point. So, if you make a coaching change, I think there's a good chance that you also make a change at quarterback. And so that's a very real possibility. So it's something, even though this Bears team isn't very good this year, it's something to keep an eye on as the season goes on.
I think when the schedule was made, this matchup tomorrow night was going to feature rookie Bryce Young on his way to his rookie of the year and leading the Panthers maybe to sneaking in and winning that division, said me.
Yeah.
Against Justin Fields, who it was time for the light to come on. And I think there are a lot of factors why it hadn't. Some of his belongings, some of he's responsible for, but that organization has just been a mess for a while.
Yeah, it really has, and it's kind of sad to watch because, it seems like every couple of years, every year, you kind of get this hope. There's that kind of hope around it. This year was, Justin Fields gonna make that jump. DJ Moore, they do have a great song. DJ Moore in there at receiver. He's finally got a weapon. You saw
Chicago's
some of those preseason games.
Town, isn't
it? Really are. I mean, when you have a band named after your city, I mean, that's pretty.
Go Cubs, go!
That's right. Down. I mean, it's they got plenty of songs.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's been a rough season for both these teams. 1-7 Panthers versus the 2-7 Bears tomorrow night. Let's see at those other primetime matchups. Sunday night, Jets and Raiders. 4-4 Jets versus 4-5 Raiders.
Mark it down on Friday for bingo.
Okay.
There will be some reference Sunday night to the Heidi game.
Ooh, okay.
And that was the story back in 69, 70.
Okay.
They left that game thinking it was Jet win, maybe even they were managing the score.
Okay.
They leave that game early to go to the Sunday night movie on NBC of Heidi.
Okay.
Heidi. In that time, the Raiders came back and won.
You're kidding. And
it was a big uproar over it. You left the game, and I'm trying to remember the theme of the movie. I want to say it was like a Swiss Alps schoolgirl, the story of Heidi. Are you finding it anywhere?
Do you know when it came out by any chance?
1970. Give me that. Maybe that. 69, 70.
68, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see. Heidi is
very famous for that game.
Yeah, NBC debuted November 17th, 1960 on NBC. The plot, primary, yada, yada, yada. She's an orphan with her grandfather. Yeah, it sounds like you got it. No, I mean, how could you be? But maybe when it's, jumping in for the Jets and the Raiders, and you're going to that.
Yeah.
I think it was based on a novel. Interesting.
Very famous.
And you learned something new.
Count me in for Friday for that being one of the bingo cards on Sunday Night Football with NBC doing Sunday Night Football.
That's right.
And I bet you they've got great archival stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. That'd be really cool to watch and see. But yeah, I don't think that's a game that people are going to be super excited for, especially after we saw the Jets and what they did Monday night in another primetime game where it was just an ugly game.
The finger pointing is pronounced with the Jets,
isn't it? It really is. And then Monday night, 3-5 Broncos versus 5-4 Bills. I mean, it's better, but
I don't have a Heidi game note for you there.
No.
Just two original AFLers, though.
Yeah, well, that is true. So I mean, there's not a lot of people super excited about these games, but it's what we get, I guess.
But there'll be great ratings.
There'll be great ratings. You're absolutely
tonight, right. I'm looking so forward to seeing the Grizzlies again.
Absolutely.
Tonight, I talked about earlier what a big difference. In 2 weeks, it's already kind of the hue, the look of the season is already taken on. But tonight for Miami, we know. I think we know that Jimmy Butler's going to the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Absolutely.
How many other Hall of Famers on the Heat roster? It is. I think Kevin Love's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That was pretty quick for everybody to agree. Kyle Lowry?
I think so.
Give me a little more back of the basketball card.
Maybe a little bit, but I think he's there.
And it'll be a while. It won't be.
It's not slam dunk.
No, and it won't be the first. The first year that he's eligible may be a while. Bam Adebayo someday?
Someday I could see. I mean, again, need some more. He's only 26, so you get a lot more, yeah.
Because when you see the Clippers, that's Team Hall of Fame, isn't it?
Especially now adding James Harden. I mean,
and all the Clipper guys are first date eligible.
Absolutely. Kawhi, PG, Russ. I mean, they're
first
Harden. They are all
not a lot of championships.
No,
but I don't think it hangs on the NBA players like having that Super Bowl ring.
I think you're right about that.
I don't think it sticks to them as much.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
And again, we go back to last week when I was talking about the teams that have won it in the 21st century. The NBA is such a closed society.
Yeah,
just so few get it.
Yeah,
win it very often. It's been gobbled up by so many.
Yeah,
or by so few rather.
No, you're right. I'm excited for this game tonight. Getting the Heat in town, and we talked a lot about it earlier. But this is a Heat team that has kind of struggled as well, and especially on the road. All 3 of their wins have come at home. So I know earlier this week when we were talking to DeMichael, he said this is a very winnable game for the Grizzlies. And so, we'll see how they come out, and obviously kind of limited with those injuries, but I'm excited for tonight.
Almost Memphis legend R.J. Hampton.
Almost Memphis legend.
A long and winding road with R.J. Hampton here, wasn't it?
Almost Memphis legend alongside Jalen Green, who's also in that Memphis Tiger legend.
Good point. And now with how recruiting, portal, transfer stuff, there's not a lot of degree of separation around sport, college or football or basketball in college. I mean, he was almost our guy. He was our guy.
Yeah.
He was close to being our guy.
He was our guy and then became somebody else's guy. And who claims him now? It's interesting. And now you're right. I mean, with transfer portal, with NIL, with all of this stuff, it's just so different. I remember when R.J. Hampton was, a lot of people, including myself, thought that Memphis had a great shot to get him, and then he decides to go. Really did. And I remember I was sitting in Spanish class when he committed to go play overseas, and I had to step out because my phone was blowing up from this was, I think, when I was interning at 247. My phone was blowing up. Everybody was calling, yada, yada, yada. It's a big day. And so I had to step out and take care of it. But, just a shock. But now with NIL, it's good to see a lot of these players. I continue to think back to Cooper Flagg, who I think a couple of years ago, if he was in that same class as Jalen Green, if he was in that same class as R.J. Hampton.
Not your Spanish class, just in that basketball class.
Just in that basketball class. It would be something if he was in my Spanish class. If he was in that class, before NIL was a thing, a very good chance he would be overseas or G League Ignite, doing something like that where he can make money. And now you do hear a lot of players, and I think it's easier now when you're not only getting to do the college route, but also getting money to do the college route. It's easier now to say, oh, I just wanted to, I've always dreamed of playing in college. I've always dreamed of March Madness, yada, yada, yada. And so it's easier now with NIL, but I am glad that with NIL, we're keeping some of these top stars playing college basketball instead of going overseas or doing something like G League.
That's right. And I went way back with Top Story of the Day, I was talking about kind of re-engaging. Yeah. And it's always, you're always kind of reselling or rebranding and to keep your market engaged. And I know Mark Giannotto wrote a story about this is a real good opportunity for Tiger basketball to re-engage, to kind of, get back, really immersed around town. And I'm not saying tonight, nothing game 8 of 82 is must win. But they start to stack up.
It sure does.
And Ron Tillery used to have he used to go through a great list of the legitimate reasons why not to go to the Grizzlies game. And this time of year was, it's college football season. Well, the Tiger basketball season getting ready to start. And, soon, it's the holiday season. Yeah. And soon, it's too cold. And then you get into, I'll go next week.
Right.
And after a few next weeks, you ain't got many weeks left.
That's right. And it's one of those things, those weeknight games, we know how hard they are, and especially this time of year. But you're right. I mean, with this kind of slow start, it is a good time to kind of, back that team and try to push them to those victories.
A slow start that I don't think anybody had this one, saw this one coming.
Not at all.
I mean, the most pessimistic person out there on the Grizzlies, and I don't know many of those.
Yeah, no.
I don't hear many of those. They didn't see this coming. Now, I didn't subscribe at all to the more optimistic,
right?
Like the 17-8 with the 25 without Ja, and we know that's not going to happen. But tonight's big, and Friday night a chance for the crowd to get reinvested.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And I know we need to get to a break here soon, but Brett, I do want to run through this real quick if we can. I saw today The Athletic put out a landing spots for Shohei Ohtani. These are the most likely landing spots.
Well, I can tell you the least likely, Anaheim.
Yeah, well, And that one's on this list as a formality because obviously it's time to only run through these lists. Right. I want your takes on some of these teams. This alphabetical order, not in terms of most likely, least likely.
Atlanta.
Boston Red Sox.
Oh, Atlanta's not. Okay.
Atlanta's not on there. Boston Red Sox.
I think Boston wants to do it to get back in the splashy reinvestment business.
Absolutely. Chicago Cubs, which I'm hearing more and more is a very likely landing spot for
them. You're going to spend that on a skipper. You got to spend it on the best two-way player since the Babe.
Absolutely. Angels in there just as a formality.
Yeah.
LA Dodgers, which seems like probably the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Mets. We know they spend. Obviously, New York. Yankees also kind of in there as a formality.
One spins because the other one spins.
They're the pinstripes. Yeah. The Phillies. I was interested to see the Phillies in there.
That might be what pushes them over the top.
It really would. I mean, obviously can't pitch for them. They need pitching down the road, so maybe kind of playing the long ball there, but getting a DH in there with all those guys, that'd be big.
So next time he takes the mounds, when? 25?
Maybe he could get in there late 2024, but it's probably 2025.
I don't see anybody risking it.
I don't either.
For the bat component of it, late 24.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2025.
I'm waiting for the Cardinals if this is alphabetical.
San Diego Padres.
Okay.
San Francisco Giants.
Okay, we got to be getting close.
Seattle Mariners.
We're really close to the Cardinals.
Texas Rangers.
What happened?
And then the Toronto Blue Jays.
I mastered the alphabet back in Miss Hawley's in kindergarten.
Do you remember middle of the season?
Where were the Cardinals?
Brett, do you remember middle of the season when everyone was like, man, the Cardinals are really bad, but don't worry. Lars Nootbaar and Shohei were teammates at the WBC. He's going to come to St. Louis and be our savior.
I knew that wouldn't happen, but I know tonight what's going to happen. Grizzlies downtown. If you can't make it downtown, I know the perfect place, the perfect bar area to really enjoy game watching. I mean, it's like a great grill room. Well, it is a grill. It's Jim's Place Grill. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebrations, family time, and lasting memories. The Terrace family with their touch for our community and the bar area will be packed. Everybody watching the Grizzlies night. Recipes that date back to the beginning when they were downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E in grill. Every steak grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place and taste and see and feel the difference. Lunch hours Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30. Since 1921, a Memphis staple, a landmark. Hard work, values, and a dedication to their diners. The Terrace family creates a memorable dining experience. And for the holiday season, for any event, for a family get-together around the holidays or an office get-together, this is your place. The lunch menu, the staples like the souffle mauve, the shrimp cocktail, crab cakes, and those salad dressings, all homemade. Dinner, the calamari, soup, seafoods, and those steaks, ribeyes, strips, fillets, fantastic bar area, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. And on Friday, Jim's Place Grill, they present to you Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal talking Tiger basketball.
Let's get to our final break of the day. When we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family-friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Hi, this is Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Grapevine Liquor and Wine has the largest selection of bourbon in North Mississippi and wines from all over the world. Let Jimmy the Delta Boy help you select the perfect spirit or wine to impress. Whether you're looking for the best price or a certain flavor profile, Grapevine Liquor and Wines has it. If you want good southern treatment and the hottest prices, Grapevine Liquor and Wine, Getwell Road, South Haven.
Hotty toddy, gosh almighty, where do you get your bourbon? Flim flam, bim bam, Grapevine, by damn.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, it's actually something I learned last night after we got off the air, and I need to thank my mother for this because she was the one that called me to tell me about it. Last night we had Maction Action on television, and Western Michigan was playing Central Michigan, and my mother called me. I watched about the first half, and I had to go run some errands. I left the house. My mom calls me. She said, Bryant, this Lou Esposito guy that's the defensive coordinator for Western Michigan, he went to Memphis, didn't he? I said, Mom, I don't know. That's before my time. I have no idea. She goes, look it up. I said, okay, I'll look it up. Sure enough, defensive coordinator Lou Esposito for Western Michigan played at the University of Memphis on the offensive line after he finished his career at the University of Memphis. He was part of the Memphis Explorers, where he was an offensive lineman for the Explorers. He then went on to coach for the Explorers after his time playing before getting into college coaching. Now the defensive coordinator for Western Michigan. My mom said she came inside. She had been outside. She came inside. She had just sat down. She was watching it. She heard Lou Esposito, and she goes, "I remember him. He was a Tiger." So it is.
That's great momming.
It really is. It sure is. I was impressed.
Real quickly, so your mom was a big fan. So she's not a fan because she knows how much you and Connor love it.
No,
she was a fan.
She's
if she had a house full of girls, she'd have been a fan.
I maybe not as big, but yes, she would still be a fan.
That is great. That is great. What I learned, you got to hand it to Dylan Brooks, or as the cool kids love to call him, DB. He's doubled down on talking stuff to either the first or second best player that's ever played the game. That's LeBron James, if you have any question about it. And I love the quote. He said he feels like James controls the media. Yeah, he does, Dylan. He's only one of the most transcendent sports figures in the history of American sport.
That's right. Yeah, this isn't some scrub coming off the bench or anything.
This is a little bit him poking at LeBron James is a little bit like the guy at the craps table that keeps buying the snake eyes. You're going to hit eventually. It's just going to be costly to finally maybe hit.
Yeah, no, it really is.
He's going to shut him down one of these nights,
and then he's going to party like there's no end. I mean, I've always been able to lock down LeBron. Yeah, it's coming. Funny enough that you have LeBron James, kind of LeBron James, in what you learned. What I could have done without this happened yesterday, but we got our answer from the NBA last night. The Lakers were complaining after their game against the Miami Heat
Lakers.
That there were fouls that were not called on LeBron James. The Los Angeles Lakers aren't getting any calls on the road. They sent it in. They filed a formal complaint with the NBA against the officials. They sent in their video evidence. And what did the NBA say? They came back and said, no, we reviewed all the footage. Looked good to us. It doesn't look like there were any fouls on any of those plays. So the Lakers, and I mean, what are we? Third week of the season, already sending in film complaining about late calls. That's incredible.
Week 3, the Lakers. We don't catch any breaks around here. I could have done without more and more proof it's starting to come out. Other Big Ten teams, we've talked about it, were into the sign stealing or something very surreptitious. Why is Connor Stallions, the Jesse James, and the others are just kind of white-collar criminals? Right. Why is he such the bad guy? There's proof out there about Purdue and Rutgers, but you don't win Pulitzers taking down the Boilers. You win Pulitzers taking down that helmet, that coach, that history. You don't get it taking down Rutgers or Purdue.
No, you unfortunately do not. Where are you beaming tonight?
191 Beale Street, FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies against the standing Eastern Conference champs. A proud franchise. Everybody in the NBA world, of course, would love to be Celtics, Lakers, Spurs, Warriors. You give me that Miami Heat culture.
Oh, absolutely.
You let me pattern my franchise after that from top down, from all those guys, that ownership group, Andy Ellisberg, to the Riley, to the bench coach, to the players. I'd be just fine with that approach.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, that culture, what they've done. You look at
they have a Heat way.
They do, and I mean, you look at this team these past couple of years and the success they've had in the postseason. I mean, coming in as an 8 seed last year. I mean, just barely getting in. I think a lot of us, if I remember correctly, during those playing games when we made picks for those playing, I'm pretty sure I had the Bulls, and the Heat go all the way to the end. I mean, it's incredible to see, and so they have a way. They know what they're doing. They have a GM. They have a coach that I think you would trust with your life, and they've been able to bring in players.
Remember that come springtime, I barely won those NBA picks, and I did it doing well on those playing game picks.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what it all comes down to. Beam me. I'm going to beam to 2 places. I've gotten pretty comfortable doing that. I figured out the way to work the beam machine.
The way the machine works.
Beam me 6 o'clock, so just in a couple of
you think
minutes.
The New York subway just stops at one subway station?
Very good point by you, Brett. But beam me up to Chicago in a couple of minutes. Florida Atlantic against Loyola Chicago tonight. I believe they're calling it the Barstool Classic. You can only watch it on Barstool.com, which I hate. But, I'm going to watch it anyway. Beam me up there maybe so I don't have to find Barstool TV or Barstool, whatever they're putting it on. But then let me watch a half or so of that beam me to the Grizzlies game against the Heat, where hopefully we see the Grizzlies get their first home win of the season.
I like that take. That's 2023 Final Four darling FAU against 2018 Final Four darling Loyola, and Loyola champions in 1963. Grizzlies and Heat won a 14 NBA games tonight after taking Election Day off. I think next year, how about take Monday and Tuesday off? If you really want to get players engaged into electioneering and getting out the vote, take Monday and Tuesday off.
Yeah, not just one day. Take them both on. Why not?
Dubs at Denver late, Boston at Philly early.
It should be a great night, like you said, with the NBA, because we didn't have any games last night. A lot of games tonight. You've got the doubleheader on ESPN, like you just mentioned, and then we also got action games. Akron, Miami, Ohio, Bowling Green, Kent State, Eastern Michigan, and Toledo. But that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi